But can they put it on for, can they put it for an article?
Oh, yeah.
That was where a little concerned.
I figured they would provide it. It's a win. It's a constant grade for like a mile.
Could be.
Probably like 4%. Still.
That's the
Yeah.
plan. And then also to the tree lighting.
Monica, you ready? You ready, Russ? Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the Borough Council meeting to order. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda by posting a copy of the notice in the municipal building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune, and by filing a copy in the office of the Borough Clerk. May I have a roll call, please?
Council President Zambrana.
Here.
Councilman Collins.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Here.
Councilman Peretti. Here. Councilman Potter.
Here.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Here.
Mayor.
Here. Okay, please join me in a moment of silence, followed by a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so now it is time for public comment. This public comment is limited to resolutions listed on the agenda. If you wish to speak, please step up to the microphone and say your name and address for the record. Yeah. Hey, George, congratulations.
Thank you. George Murray, Forbrook Drive. I have a couple questions for the Resolution 302, 2023, because the details are not in there. Has the BA CFO been receiving any or paying herself the 2% increase for the years of 2020, 21, 22, and 23?
All the salary increases are in the resolutions. No, there was no increase for 2023.
And what are the contract values for the length of the contract for both positions?
So you want the contract, you've seen the contract, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, so that's, the council is going to vote on it. I will say one thing. There was some information going around, perhaps some people are interested in that. This is not a tenure contract. This is a fair contract. It really deals with this year. And, you know, to Mayor-elect Murray's credit, he called me last week and we spoke about this, and I told him, come January 1st, you're free to do whatever you'd like. There is nothing that hamstrings you with this contract. You know, you can do what you want. It's something that, you know, we thought was fair. I called a personnel meeting last week about it, and the personnel committee, the two people that showed up, thought that it was fair to bring before the council and allow the council to vote on it this evening. So that's the full council has all of the particulars of the contract.
So then the dollar figures are not going to be provided?
Does anybody want to share that with Mr. Murray?
I'm looking it up right now.
I have a
Oh,
problem.
you do?
Sorry, all right, so, George, the 2024, you're asking for the subsequent years? So 2024, BA, 126,000 base salary, CFO, 34,000. 2025, 129,000, CFO, 35,000. 2026, business administrator, 132,000, CFO, 36,000. Got that? So 126, 129, 132, 34, 35, 36.
And what about 2023?
2023, sorry. 123, 123,000 for BA, and 32,000 for CFO.
Okay,
Got
thank
that?
you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My questions are also regarding 302, 2023.
State your name for the record, please, sir.
Frank Manco, 21 Durst Drive, Councilman-elect.
Congratulations to you as well, Mr. Mankin.
Thank you. We were just wondering, how long has the current BA been in this position?
I believe about 5 years, 4 to 5 years.
So I spoke to our Labor Council earlier today, and it was June 1st of 2020. Can you confirm?
No, well, I've been working for the Borough as a BA since May of 2019.
And the CFO was
As-
2020.
Yeah, and the CFO position was added.
Officially appointed. I did it for a year for no fee from May of 2019 till June of 2020.
And is there currently a contract for the BA CFO position?
No, the Personnel Committee has been looking over that all year.
And is there any requirement for a contract for this work?
That's up to the council to decide.
It's an industry norm,
But it's not, I think he's
Not a
asking if it's required
yes.
by state
There's no
statute or
state
anything.
statute for
And
it,
it-
no.
the answer is no to that, correct?
So the witness can provide his own questions. But to answer, it's an industry standard, but it is not a requirement.
Is there any direct rationale for offering of an employment contract based on the idea of what benefit or value does that give the town?
Certainly. I don't think that we would have put it on the agenda had we not felt that there was a benefit to the town.
But that's, I guess, what I'm asking is what benefit? Is there any protections that it gives the town or any greater,
Well,
It sets forth expectations on both sides of what salary and other benefits will be.
so it makes clear, it's really on multi-levels, it's protection for the borough. The borough will, it's one of the higher positions. There is another contract on the agenda for another position that is the highest paid position in the borough. And then the next one would be the BA and CFO. The CFO has, as you can see in the figures, it's lower. But for a variety of reasons, the BA, CFO is an important position. They do the budgets, they, coordinate most of the operations in the town. And part of the reason for wanting to memorialize this is to protect the borough. There have been cases in the past where perhaps because those positions weren't really clear, that there may have been some actions that were taken that weren't in the best interest of the borough. And, if you'd like, I can discuss an example. I'm not really one to air the borough's dirty laundry, but if you'd like to hear one of the reasons why we think it's important, I'll be glad to share it with you.
if it, with that in regard, if it suffices to say it clarifies the roles,
Sure.
I can accept that.
So several years ago, before we had a personnel committee, the finance committee, then this was when I first joined the council. That was about 6 years ago. 6 years ago. The finance committee chose the positions. At that time, the finance committee, as he will recall, was Councilman Revelinsky, myself, and the council president. At that time, the CFO, part-time BA, decided to go take a job in Sayreville, and when she left, it was the judgment of the finance committee to put a new CFO in place, and they decided that it should be a lower-level clerk that worked in the finance department. And that clerk did not have a college education, was not trained to do that, and they unilaterally decided that they would spend taxpayer money to send her to Rutgers to take classes so that she could become the next chief financial officer of the Borough of Milltown. Now, that was against, I was strongly opposed to that. They were very in favor of it. They did that. In the meantime, we needed a BA, so we got an interim BA that the borough paid money for. And then as the time went on, they found that the interim BA became cost prohibitive, so we were going to hire a full-time BA, and that's when Ms. Larison came on. In the meantime, it come to find out that that candidate who they chose to be chief financial officer had not been really attending her classes at Rutgers and was arrested and forced to leave the borough because she was stealing money from the accounts receivable. So that is who it's a very important role that needs to be memorialized and have some clarity as to what the position is. And, if there's somebody that's doing a good job, just like all the other department heads got some increase, then that person should. That is not saying that that person needs to be there forever. It's certainly at your pleasure to choose whomever you'd like. However, what we're saying is for this year, we are putting forth for the council to vote on whether this important position is worthy of this contract. And that's up for the council members to vote on.
So are there other employees besides the police chief that are typically contracted by the
Some.
town?
Well, actually, yes, they're under union contracts.
A majority of them.
I mean, besides specifically the union contracts, any of the other department heads or any of those, is that an industry standard as well?
It's not an industry standard to have a contract for other department heads.
Does this set a precedent where they might be entitled to one or consider it a request of parity?
That's again up to the personnel and the council. I guess you could say, it could go either way.
If the BA position is the gatekeeper between the council and the borough employees, how would the council then be aware of a different employee wanting a contract?
I don't understand that.
I don't get that question.
If it's supposed to be, if someone did want a contract, and where would they request that from? In a different employee
Are you
head?
asking if they could come directly to the council to discuss it?
Well, I was just wondering through protocol, where would they start?
I think generally in any kind of reporting structure, the department heads would report directly to the BA to initialize that contract, but then everyone ultimately would have to come through the personnel committee, whether bypassing their skip level to go directly to the personnel committee or to the council. That's kind of like similar to any type of, I guess, private and public enterprise, like your direct line of report or skip level.
I see, so there's a bridge between there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when the salary ordinances for this year were introduced, why was the offering of the BA and CFO position a contract not addressed publicly at that time?
It's come up before.
I was not aware of that. Because then, also the retroactive to January of 2023 in the contract, it would just make sense that if it's going to be regarding 2023, it would have been made when the salary ordinances were introduced.
Again, that's up to the council to decide what's fair and equitable.
Actually, the resolution that was put before us for the salary ordinance excluded the BA and CFO. And I questioned it at that time, and no mention was made of a
And
pending
we said
contract.
that, I believe the language was that we would circle back to it.
And now we are at the last month.
Correct.
So the agenda for tonight's meeting, when was that first prepared, or?
It's always prepared the week before the meeting.
And when was so the agenda items were introduced at that date?
So it was proposed for the agenda. When I looked over the agenda and saw that this could be something that we discussed, I sent an email to the Personnel Committee, who is Council President Zambrana and Councilman Collins, and said,
I never got that email.
you got 3 emails
Yeah, 3
and
emails,
1
too.
invitation to a meeting. I
Oh,
will
but that
give
meeting
you...
was on the phone, right? It said it was
No,
about the
no,
police
no.
contract.
Well, Mr. Mango, I will tell you what, last week, on Monday, when this came to my attention, I emailed the personnel, Councilman Collins and Council President Zambrana. and said, before I put anything on the agenda, I would like the personnel committees to discuss these contracts that that could be on the agenda for next week. I emailed twice. I received a response from Council President Zambrana. I then finally emailed one more time saying, all right, let's do a meeting, instead of in person, let's just do it by phone because we're getting closer to the holiday. And I said, let's meet at 9 o'clock on either Tuesday or Wednesday morning. Correct, Councilman Collins?
That's incorrect. I said that you're going to be a telephone meeting at 9 o'clock.
That's correct.
That's not, I didn't agree to meet somewhere. That
But
was at 9
that's-
o'clock, the
it's-
day before Thanksgiving you did it.
So did you call?
No, I thought, you called when I opened her timesheets, but you didn't call me now for a personnel meeting. That's strange.
No,
Remember that?
it was without
Do you recall that,
anybody.
Madam Mayor?
It was supposed to be you and me and Phil.
So you didn't pick up the phone, did you, and call me? But when I
asked you, I gave you the call-in number. What happens on a meeting is you call.
I had less than 24 hours to respond to this.
No, you had a day and a half.
No, I'm sorry, you sent it out Wednesday at
Whatever.
1:42.
Anyway, so
But
that the
why,
timeline,
Madam Mayor,
Mr.
did
Manko,
when I
is,
opened her time card, you were on the phone with me in an hour and a half, but you can't call me on the phone when there's a personnel meeting? Isn't that a little strange?
I don't think that I have to hold your hand to get you to call into a pre-scheduled meeting, Councilman. It was, you didn't answer.
But, Madam Mayor, why did you call when I opened her timesheets?
I didn't call you that. That's not a meeting.
Yes, you did, Madam Mayor.
I think Mr. Manko had a question that we were
Yeah,
trying
so
to-
I'm sorry, Mr. Mango, we digress. Go ahead.
It was when was this decided and put on the
Tuesday.
agenda?
Or maybe even before I wanted to have a personnel committee meeting before the agendas would go out, and that would have been, they went out on Wednesday. So it's always the Wednesday, or it's usually the Friday before the meeting, but because of the holiday, they went out Wednesday before.
So when was the contract written?
It's been reviewed and throughout the year.
And who actually wrote the contract? Or was, who, as the labor earlier in the
The
year
labor
then?
attorney has reviewed it, yes.
So when was it first reviewed?
Earlier this year.
It just seems
Not sure.
a while back
Yes, it's been ongoing.
for late presentation.
Yep.
Is there, in presenting or reviewing that contract by the labor attorney, is there a cost to that process? Is that
It's like any other
billable?
professional service.
And who reviews or authorizes those costs? Is that done by the personnel committee, or is that?
That's part of the bill list,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the finance committee.
and what you're doing is you're making sure that what they're billing for adheres to what's in the RFP that was provided or submitted earlier in the year.
What is specifically permitted or prohibited within the employment contract? And does the contract allow for any behaviors that are otherwise prohibited in the employee handbook?
Sorry, repeat that question?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I understood it.
Does anything in the contract exclude anything directly mentioned in the employee handbook? Is there anything over and above or below that is allowed by the contract that is not normally set as the precedent in the handbook?
There's no reference to the employee handbook
That's because
in the contract.
Yeah, I didn't do, if you're asking if I compared this contract to the employee handbook, I didn't do like a, control search in that, but, I don't think there's anything in here.
Does
I
it
can't speak to that.
supersede, so to speak, the employee handbook, or does it, would the contract take precedent?
Well, the contract is for that position. I think the employee handbook is the general guidelines for all borough employees. I think this is specifically for these two positions.
Is there anything in the contract regarding working from home?
It allows for 1 day a week to work from home.
Or as approved by the mayor,
Yes.
Exactly.
but nothing requires it in writing. in this contract for approval by council.
Are utilization of borough resources allowed under this contract for personal use?
It's prohibited by the employee handbook to utilize borough resources for personal gain.
I guess it's still just seems that this is just an odd time, that normally decisions, I would think of contracts of this nature so late in the year when would be left up to the future council.
Fair. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. Any questions? Anyone else? Yep. No, Gary, you go. And a final congratulations to Mr. Poznanski as well.
Thank you. Gary Poznanski, 31 Cleveland Avenue. I'm also speaking about this resolution tonight. I believe it subverts the will of the majority of voters of Milltown, who overwhelmingly voted for a new direction. The new governing body comes into power mandated by the outgoing governing body. That's all I have to say.
George Murray, Brook Drive. So thank you for those numbers, Councilman Peretti. So I just did some quick calculations, so I'm probably close but not spot on because of dollars and cents. But it appears that for 2023, the BA's position jumps from 80,000 to 123,000. And that's resolution
That's not correct.
064, 2023. It's actually right in the resolution. Salary wages. And then, so it appears to be almost a 93% increase for 23. And then 24 is 3.5, 25 is 3, 26 is 3. But my question is, there's enough money for all these increases for 2 specific positions, but yet most of the rest of the borough employees got zeros and/or single-digit increases for their contracts, typically 3 or 4 year contracts. This is kind of setting a bad precedence because now you're going to have all the department heads most likely are going to be filing grievances or suits for their increases, especially the statutory ones, because the statutory, I think, is only 2% for the statutory increases, which are CFO, clerk, tax assessor, tax collector. I think this is a bad precedence that is being set here at the end of the year.
Thank you. I would say check your numbers one more time. They sound a little off, but other than that, you know, the council will take that under advisement.
Yeah, this is 064 is the published resolution for 2023 salaries that are paid out to the employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Nick Ligotti, 9 Janet Court. That was for Peter. I just wanted to come up here. I don't have a question. I have a comment or a statement. I served on council when we had the previous CFO BA. I served on council when you had an interim CFO BA. I would like to say and state publicly that the CFO BA that we have currently is leaps and bounds better than what we've had in the past. You know, money gets involved. I don't know who deserves what. I'm not up there making those decisions anymore. But I want the people of Milltown to understand that our current CFO is the best thing that happened to this town many, many years ago, and I hope that she continues to work here. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I will, sorry. close audience comments and move on to the approval of minutes. This is for the November 13th, 2023 regular meeting. Any comments or corrections? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Council President Zambrana. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, will the clerk please read Resolution 295, 2023, authorizing bill payment by title only?
Resolution 295, 2023, authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in a total amount of $147,525.95.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I move that the bill list be approved as typed.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Potter, second by Council President Zambrana, that the resolution be adopted. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'm just curious, I didn't see any bills on here for the labor attorney, and considering that we have Resolution 303 in front of us, I'm sorry, not that one, 302 in front of us, I would expect to see some sort of bill from the labor attorney for the hours served most recently in drafting this contract or reviewing it.
But you'll probably come in the next round for December.
Do we know how much that might be?
Off the top of my head, no.
I have
Any
a
other-
quick
Margaret?
question, and I'm hoping Councilman Revelinsky can answer it. Do you know what happened to the library door?
No, I haven't heard anything about the library door. I know the contract for the
Yeah,
roof is still ongoing, but nothing about the door.
I do. They called me. The disabled handle, push handle was broken, and so they had to call somebody in.
Oh, gotcha. It was a significant repair, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Or cost.
And Ralph was at the end, took care of that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Okay, next we'll move on to the consent agenda. A consent resolution has been prepared for the resolutions listed on the agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and, having been reviewed by the Borough Council, will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of funds. If any member of the council wants any resolution acted upon individually, please give me the resolution number, and it will be pulled from the consent agenda.
Madam
Yeah.
Mayor, can you pull Resolution 302,
Sure.
2023? I think that's
Yep.
obvious.
297, 298, 303, and 304, please.
297, 298, I'm sorry, what was it, 30?
3 and 304.
Anyone else?
Yes, 297, I don't know if I'm repeat, I can't hear very well down here.
Yeah, so
297, 203,
It's already been pulled.
298, 203, 302, 203, and 303, 203, and 304, 203.
That's what we've got. So right now, we just have left 299, 300, and 301. Is that correct?
Correct.
No. Monica, you got that? Yeah. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda resolution?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting upon certain conditions, and whereas each of the following resolutions to be presented before the Borough Council at its November 27th, 2023 regular meeting appear to have the unanimous approval of all members of the Borough Council. So that'll be 299, 300, and 301. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown that each of the above listed resolutions be approved and adopted by the Borough Council with the same legal effect as though each was read in its entirety at the November 27, 2023 regular meeting and adopted by separate vote.
You've heard the reading of the consent resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, make a motion that these resolutions be adopted.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
So moved. Will the clerk please read Resolution 297, 2023 by title?
Authorizing award of contract MadVac all-terrain vacuum equipment through Sourcewell National Co-op, contract number 093021-EXP, Hudson Machinery, not to exceed $66,645.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion this resolution be adopted.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Any discussion?
Yes, I asked for this to be pulled because looking at the quote here, I don't see anything in regards to a warranty on this piece of equipment, which at $66,000, I'm hoping there would be.
Okay. I don't have an answer for you. I'm sure there is one, but this got put forward through DPW, so
Is this equipment in stock?
I
Is it
believe
ready
so.
to be received? And then, I know it's not the same, but it made me think of it when this resolution came up, but a while ago, we applied for a grant for street sweepers so we can conduct interlocal services with Jamesburg. Did we receive that grant?
Not yet.
So, you say not yet, like, we didn't receive the money, but did we
No,
receive
the
word
grants,
we were
so the
approved?
LEAP grants can take a very long time, so we're still waiting for an answer on that.
Thanks.
Yes, I had a question on this certification of funds. This one's predated on the 27th, that it was already signed when I got it on, what was that, 24th?
Today's the 27th.
That's how I do the certification of funds, so it's dated the same day as the resolution that it is adopted.
And it's not notarized.
I never know, the certification of funds I type up, and I have the BA put in the information, but it's dated for the date that you guys will
It's supposed
adopt
to
the
be
resolution.
notarized by law.
None of the certification of funds that have been done all year have been notarized, including by the previous clerk, so
It should have been done by notarized.
I've-
Are you going to check on that?
To be notarized.
I've never done that, but I can look into that for you.
Any other comments on
I've
Resolution
never had it
297?
notarized before,
Yeah.
ever, in 20 years.
Yeah, Jeanette, wasn't this part of the capital plan? Was this in the capital? plan?
was.
Okay, so this has already been approved in the
Yes.
capital plan?
Yes.
Okay.
The purpose of the resolution is to, because the amount of money, and it's through a national co-op, that's the reason that you have to, if it was under the $44,000 threshold, it wouldn't have, we wouldn't have had to do this.
Okay.
And I am sure the DPW is so excited to have this. It's been several years in the making to have this available. It's one of several pieces of equipment and parts and things like that that have not been available for a very long time. And this is one that they place a very high value on. So I'm sure our DPW is very, very happy to see this.
Anyone else? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
So moved. Will the clerk please read Resolution 298, 2023 by title?
Appointing risk manager for year 2024.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your
I
pleasure?
make a motion that this resolution be denied.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilman Revelinsky, a second by Councilman Collins, that the motion be denied. Any further, do we discuss or just vote on that?
Happy to give my reasons for it. I asked at the September 26th meeting about this very same issue, in which the resolution appointing our new JIF indicated this firm as the intended risk manager. Appointing professionals for the following year is the responsibility of incoming council and done at the reorganization meeting. So why, if we dropped the issue back in September, are we now trying to circumvent that standard procedure?
Well-
Go ahead. Feel free to tell me why I'm wrong.
So I believe at that time, Councilman Revelinsky, it was tabled so that more information could be available to anyone who was seeking more information. To be truthful, the gentleman in this company has providing services to the borough since mid-year for free. So it has been at no cost, with the understanding that an appointment would be coming by the end of the year.
But
That's what
there
we said.
again, that's not answering my question. The point here is
That's what we
that,
said then, and it hasn't changed. That's what we said then, that it's really what it
the
comes down to
point
now.
here is that you're attempting to appoint professionals for the 2024 year.
Yep, I hear you.
Now, which is done at reorg,
I hear you.
not by this sitting council.
I hear you.
So then why is it on here?
So isn't this the role that needed to be in place already for us to
Yes.
obtain?
Which we did by appointing someone at the last meeting until December 31st, 2023, because you don't appoint people for the following year. That's the next council's responsibility.
I want to jump in. So you're right, it's for the 99.9% of the time, professionals should be appointed by the next council, the January reorg. That's why we have reorganization meeting. The leaving of a JIF and starting a new JIF is quite out of the norm. And then having a professional do the work that is necessary for us at no cost is also out of the norm. At that time, when the council voted along to say we'll amend the original resolution to be 2023. Looking at it now for this new resolution, and honestly, even looking back on when we first passed that to have the stopgap necessary for the JIF management, I think that sets a bad precedence for the borough in terms of, for this circumstance of having a professional service that we need in place for 1 year to be done for free, and then have no expectation to award that position for the following year. Now, again, that should never happen in the normal course of business, because we're not planning on leaving the JIF mid-year every single year. I think this is a one-off standard, and I think the standard of being is, you're correct, Councilmember Walensky, that incoming council should always do professional appointments. I think this is a exception to that rule because of the fact that this sets a bad precedence of why would anyone work for the borough if we intend to use their services for free and not then award them professional contracts in the following year. I think that kind of sets a bad precedence for outside professionals to not do business with us. That's why I am, I'll say I'm supporting for passing this resolution, because that's where I stand on that. I think it's, for the most part, any other circumstances, I think most of the council would agree with you not to set the precedence of outgoing council appointing professionals. In this rare instance, I think this is the exception to that rule. So that's my opinion on that.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I don't understand this, because we don't know how much we're paying this person. How do we sign a 3-year contract without knowing what the compensation is to the person?
It's only one
It's
year.
2024.
It's what?
6% for the year 2024.
And
Set by
6%
statute.
Right, this is a 3-year contract, right?
No, it's the year 2024.
One-year contract. It goes to the end of '24.
And
No matter who we have,
it's
it's
the
6% of the
statutory, it's the
It's
same no matter
6%?
who you get.
6% of JIF. Councilman Revelinsky, I have a question. Is there an issue with the firm or the person, or is just the
No,
appointing of it?
The latter. I mean, I don't know this firm. It's been the only one that was ever presented to us. When I asked in September if there was others, if we put out an RFP, I was told you don't have to put out an RFP for your risk management chair, which after double checking, you're right. But if they're paid by the JIF and we have them doing the work now in 2023, isn't the work they're doing now paid by the JIF? And if not, then why aren't we getting a bill from this person? They offered to do it for free. Well, I guess they didn't manage their risks very well.
Because we have to apply, we are applying for other JIFs. We didn't appoint a new JIF. There was a mistake in that resolution. So there's no, they have gone through town, taken inventory, and it is for the purpose of putting applications together for other JIFs to solicit quotes. And that's what they've been doing for the past several months. It is an arduous task when when you're gonna bring on a new JIF. We've been with Middlesex JIF for a long time, and it is important that, there are things that I had noticed with what was going on with that JIF, and that's why. Most JIFs require a risk manager.
The 27 million in debt of the Middlesex County JIF. And what is our financial obligation for that JIF
We were
annually?
about 500,000, but we've paid almost half of that. So that's why. We were bound by contract. The contract is up, that's why we passed a resolution to we don't have to leave that JIF, but that's, the resolution was passed so that we could leave it and give them proper notice. And then the risk manager was brought on so that we could properly make sure everything is inventoried in town and to make proper application to other area JIFs to see who's gonna provide the best prices for us.
Jeanette, if we had not done that at that time, what would have happened? Would we have been
We'd have to
automatically?
renew with the current JIF for another 3 years.
Yeah, and that's why we did
And
that.
that was what the concern.
Go in default, because after the past 3 years, there was, what, 12 members,
Well,
now
they're-
6?
Yeah, but
And
they're
we're
not, so, and
responsible for a portion
just to
of
be
the 27
clear,
million?
they're not in debt for 27 million. It's called an
Liabilities.
IBNR number. So it's for claims that have not yet been, that it's possible, it's exposure to, so they're supposed to be funded. It's like an unfunded liability. And so that's been going on for over a decade, probably longer.
So you're in favor of leaving the current?
I think that it's the right thing to do for the town, because,
Right.
you know,
And
to make sure
isn't-
that we are properly insured and covered, and that, that it's a more professional, group that we go with.
Well, I don't think we're talking about leaving the JIF here. We're talking about appointing a risk management person.
I understand that,
But that's a conduit to leaving the JIF.
yes.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to, it was to,
You have a motion to deny on the table.
Deny,
So an
okay.
affirmative vote, a vote in favor of the motion is a motion to deny the resolution.
Okay.
A vote against the motion is a vote to deny, to vote against the motion to deny it, and then you'll need to entertain a new motion.
A yes is a no, a no is a yes.
If you say so.
okay, will the clerk
Too few
please-
words.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
So I'm saying no to table it, no to deny it.
Yes.
To make that clear, not yes
Yes.
to deny it, no to deny it.
Correct.
No, if you're,
Got
if you
it?
say.
Motion is to
So the
deny.
motion is to deny the resolution. If you vote,
I do not want to
if you vote
deny.
no, that means you do not want to deny the resolution. If you vote yes, that means you're denying the resolution, you don't want the resolution to pass.
No, I want the resolution to pass.
No,
That's a separate issue.
I don't know what you
The motion, the motion.
The
The current
motion.
motion is to deny. So if
Motion
you
is to
vote
deny,
in favor of
exactly.
the current motion, you vote to deny. If you vote against the current motion, you are not going to deny it for the time being, and you're going to entertain a new motion.
Totally lost me, man.
Listen.
Wow.
Not that hard.
I don't agree with denying
Say no.
this motion. Just
No.
no.
Councilman Collins.
Yes, deny.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
I have to abstain in this matter. I conduct personal business with the agency.
Councilman Peretti.
No.
Councilman Potter.
Yes, because I want to see this at reorg.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Yes.
We have 3 yes, 2 nay, and an abstain.
So the motion is passed to deny.
Motion passes, so you denied the resolution.
So we'll be staying with the current JIF.
So 302 is the next one.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry, looking at the numbers. So 302 is, will the clerk please read Resolution 302, 2023 by title?
Authorizing the mayor to execute employment agreement with business administrator and chief financial officer.
You've heard the reading of this resolution, what is your
I
pleasure?
make a motion that this resolution is denied.
Second?
We have a motion by Councilman Revelinsky, second by Councilman Collins. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor, you made statements earlier about qualifications based on an incident that occurred 4 years ago where this council was forced to have an interim and appoint a CFO on short notice. But in this contract, it has no requirements for any qualifications for the CFO. Secondly, you said that this is a non-tenure contract. However, perhaps our borough attorney can give me some information as to the statute that results in tenure for a CFO.
That's CFO, this contract is for BA CFO. If the incoming mayor and council wishes to appoint the CFO, then she can have tenure. If they do not, she will not have tenure. So this contract is not binding for tenure.
But isn't it 4 years and a reappointment, 4 years of service and reappointment?
This is not a
Terms
reappointment.
terms of a CFO are for 4 years. So if, as indicated earlier, Ms. Larison was appointed, I believe, in 2020, then her first year would be 2020, then 21, 22, 23. So if she was reappointed as the CFO for 2024, then she could conceivably have tenure. But I don't know that this appoints her as CFO so much as outlines what the terms of her compensation would be as CFO, provided she served those periods.
I had a question on that as well, for those on the council, just to clear it up. I reached out directly to the labor attorney about that, about the tenured issue, because obviously that has been a conversation already, so the BA does not have tenure. That's if business administrators, you've seen that online for tenure, that's a public school function, that's not a municipal government function. The CFO could, with a resolution to appoint this does not have anything to do with appointment. It would have to be a second resolution in 2024 by the incoming council to appoint, and then someone who has 2 appointments could apply for tenure. So that is the responsibility of the incoming council to decide that resolution.
So there's a
Not our
process.
council, not this council. That's
There's
the
a
next
process
council's
in
responsibility.
place. There's a process in place.
Yeah.
Mr. Vignola, being that we have you here, have you reviewed this contract?
I haven't.
You what?
I'm not your labor counsel.
Well, can anybody run it past you?
They could, but the reason you have an engaged labor counsel is because they handle your employment issues.
I've never talked to the Labor Council recently. I mean, I haven't talked to them since like March, I guess.
Okay.
And that was under
It's
another one.
It's a she.
I reached out.
Well, it's,
Councilman, I reached out directly
You have
to
labor
her.
counsel, Councilman Collins, and I think you've appointed them as of January of this year, and they're who handle your labor issues.
Wow. So if I wanted to speak to you about this, I couldn't do that.
You could speak to me about it, but then I'd probably have to reach out to labor counsel, and you'd pay me to talk to labor counsel to get an answer to a question that you could ask labor counsel.
It's like going in the dark here with this
well,
contract.
So
but again,
when
it's,
Labor Council, when we had the other contracts up, our police contract, our blue-collar workers contract, wasn't Labor Council present at those discussions as well?
yes, and Labor Council.
How come
has
we
been
haven't-
involved
I
in-
don't- Well,
Labor-
Councilman Collins, have you spoken with Labor Council at all in regards to this?
No, I haven't.
Were you ever offered the opportunity to?
No, I haven't.
Yes.
When were you
I-
told that this contract was going to be presented?
Wasn't told till I got it Wednesday. We actually spoke about this
Wednesday.
contract, I believe it, back in March, and it was rejected by myself and Councilman Zambrana. And now it comes back up in my packet on Wednesday. I'm shocked. I'm like,
I don't remember saying that I was rejecting that contract, John.
What's that? You don't
Just-
recall?
Yeah, I don't recall saying that, yeah.
yeah, then why did we present it in March then?
We didn't present it in March, we discussed it.
We discussed it in March, and
Discussed it. We didn't present it to anybody,
We
John.
I stated the fact that if we give Ms. Larison a contract, there's 5 other employees that'll be eligible, and the cost to the taxpayers could be a lot of money, and I don't think this represents the best interest of the residents.
John, it's a contract that goes back for this year to the beginning of this year.
Well, I don't understand this. I went to business law, and I said you can't post-date a contract, so how are we post-date now?
Post-date.
Yeah, why are we putting this back
Yeah, why are
to
we
January
posting
1st, 2023, instead of having the BA and CFO salaries adjusted with the salary ordinance that was adopted earlier this year?
You're an attorney, can you answer that question? Isn't it?
I would,
Why is the
I would,
council doing that? I can't
no.
decide- I can't tell you why the council's
No,
deciding to do that.
I would say that's, the labor attorney, as Councilman Preddy.
I've never seen anything like this. You
The labor
post-date a contract?
All your labor contracts usually will be retroactive if you
Yeah, I know.
frequently don't
Well,
have one.
when we're in negotiations,
The-
Seems
I
like
never
this
spoke to the
was
Labor
a plan
Council.
in the works that no one wanted to share with the whole of council
John, you keep saying
since
you never
March.
spoke to the Labor Council, but
So
you
I have a
could
few more
speak to the Labor
questions.
Council at any time that you wanted to.
Oh, I don't even
Okay,
know
all
the
right,
number.
excuse me, Councilman Revlin has another question.
So why is the BA, which is one position, and the CFO position in one contract? The CFO is a statutory position, correct? And the BA serves at the pleasure of the council. So why are we putting these both into one contract when it could be the borough's pleasure to have a BA that's part-time or someone else who is not the CFO?
Back, thank you, back. That can be changed,
That can be changed.
But then why adopt the contract?
because we have that role now.
We have it now, but it can be changed. So again, we're trying to institute that nothing changes
Just to
once
be-
officers
Just to
change.
be fair to what's there now.
So why are we looking at 3 years? Especially when, according to New Jersey statute 40A:9-137, states that it doesn't state a time frame, and only that he or she will serve until the governing body decides to go in another direction. And I'll quote, the BA, the business administrator shall be at, quote, "the pleasure of the governing body."
That's exactly
So why
right.
do we have a
That's
contract?
That's exactly right.
exactly right.
That's
So then
exactly
why do we
right.
have a contract?
That's exactly right.
So we wasted labor attorney time, we wasted everyone's time here, because you put forth a contract for positions that don't require a contract.
Exactly.
It seems pretty foolish.
But it just-
And it's not even anything in here that states about the qualifications.
It's, of course, I reviewed the agenda and the resolution.
Yeah, but who introduced this to the clerk? She had to print this up.
That was the Personnel Committee that you
Oh, what
didn't
day
show
was
up
this
for.
done? But isn't that resolution supposed to be in the Friday before the following Monday?
So you got it 2 days early last week.
So, wait a minute, excuse me. When was the date that this was handed in to the borough clerk?
Monday.
But it says it was already done, and then under here, it says the Personnel Committee have reviewed, which is past tense, the terms of the agreement. Well, that means you did it ex post facto. How can you do that with a contract and a resolution? How can you have...
It's
No,
been
you just told me
reviewed.
it happened on Tuesday and Wednesday.
No, you asked when
You said this was in Monday. Now, how can you go and amend a resolution when you didn't meet?
Well, the resolution hadn't been adopted at
It's-
that point, so
it's-
typically it's not.
But it says it right here, it says was
Councilman Collins,
reviewed.
If I could,
So you're going back and doing it ex post facto. After you introduce the resolution, then you're going back and saying,
the
oh, yeah.
resolution is
it's-
introduced tonight, is when the
Yeah,
resolution.
but this resolution was turned into the
No,
clerk.
no, but Councilman Collins, a resolution is introduced at the meeting at which it appears on the agenda. So
Right.
it's not uncommon for someone to write a resolution in anticipation of the meeting date. That's,
Well, then how can we do that? It says, because it says right here, was reviewed in terms of the agreement. But it already was printed.
Councilman Collins, if I can step in, a few things. I have things turned to me by Tuesday, not the Friday before. I extended the date from the previous clerk to give department heads time to get me materials. That's the first thing. I type up
Right.
most of the resolutions. When I type the resolution, it's typed as if you are reading it, and it is typed and for the date that you are passing it. So
Right,
if
I understand
The
that.
date that you're passing it is today,
Right,
then, and I write you reviewed it, it's because you reviewed it prior to today.
right. But when I got it, it wasn't reviewed because they were still working on it.
So I'm not going to change the wording of the resolution because the resolution that you're voting on is saying that you reviewed it prior to today when you're adopting that resolution. Reviewed, as in today, you read that resolution, it was reviewed. Yes, it was reviewed prior to today. I'm not typing up a resolution to say to be reviewed and then changing it after you adopt it. I have to type a resolution in the form of which you are going to be passing it, and you're passing it saying that it was reviewed, which it was prior to tonight's meeting, because I got the packets out Wednesday of last week.
I see.
That's why, that's why the wording says reviewed in a resolution.
Yeah, I wish I knew about this. I would have, but it doesn't
And
matter.
that's why I put the watermark draft on it, because it's considered draft until it is adopted.
That's right.
So I hope that provides some clarification. But I typed the resolutions in the form of them being read and adopted today. So that's why it says reviewed as opposed to be reviewed.
So we have a motion to deny. Any other comments?
Wait,
Yes,
Madam
plenty.
Mayor.
Okay.
We got a lot of comments.
I see here item number 8, page 3. Develop, prescribe, enforce rules and regulations for the efficient management of borough government for avoidance of any duplication or overlapping, which I think we can all agree that some redundancy is good, and cross-training. Effort among the departments or among units within the department, and for the improvement of methods and procedures. So again, I think that this statement in here is inaccurate as to what we truly want. We do want some redundancy.
I'm sorry, you have to change your ordinance because those came right directly from the borough ordinance.
From the borough ordinance. Great. So is that before us then, to change that ordinance?
No.
Okay, because this contract was only just sent out on Wednesday.
No,
All right.
that's not for me to.
So we've got BA positions and CFO positions in here. I don't see anything in this document that says that the CFO must retain or maintain a CFO certification,
State statute says that.
but it's not in the contract.
It's the state
So then why have the contract if it's state statute?
The state statute is referenced in the contract?
No, it's actually referenced in the end about the rules of organizing. And that one doesn't reference the CFO standards. So we'll move on to page 4, under personnel, develop and administer the borough's personnel program, including up-to-date job classifications and pay plans. What do you mean by that? Job classifications. We've had several employees this year who have said they were hired to do a specific job and then were told, do this job instead. And then we pulled hours from them and then replaced them, and only to find out that the candidate that was coming on board said, I'm not doing that job. That's not what I signed up for. And now we
No, that's not-
offer hours
no,
back.
that's
We don't need to get into.
No, I think we do, because you're trying to propose a contract, which I think is BS, last minute here, as a favor. So we'll move on to D, purchasing for the CFO, have custody of all borough property, real and personal. And I'm wondering, perhaps, our borough attorney can tell me what the personal is in there. This is part D on page 4.
Personal property?
Yeah.
Anything that's not real estate?
Anything that's not real estate.
Yeah, so real property is real
So
estate.
maintaining the computers and anything of that nature within the borough.
I think that would be what that would state, let's see, you read it quickly, I didn't read it, and obviously you were ready to, with your inquiries, so.
That's correct.
So they're to maintain an inventory and depreciation schedule of all property owned by the borough and have custody of all borough property, real and personal, not assigned to any other department. Okay.
It's called a fixed asset list.
So I was curious what the personal meant. But that's the
personal
borough
is-
property, that's just not real estate.
Yeah, so
So it's-
anything, personal property is anything that is not real estate or a fixture, which would be a fixed to real estate.
Okay. During the work week, this contract says the business administrator / CFO or chief financial officer shall spend sufficient time at his or her job to ensure smooth and responsible operation of the borough offices and responsibilities. The business administrator / chief financial officer shall work at least 35 hours per week. I have a problem with this word sufficient. Should it not say a minimum of 35 hours a week? Because the second sentence or second bullet in there, number 2, both parties recognize that more hours may be needed and worked without compensation. I love that sentence. Worked without compensation, and no overtime shall be paid. So I'm just wondering if we can amend that as well before ever adopting this contract, which I think there's more questions than answers to. But we have number 1 here, the sufficient time
So
at his or her job. Who determines sufficient?
the term is also there, at least 35 hours per week?
I did.
Okay, good.
I like that, but what I have a problem with is the sufficient. Who determines sufficient?
Anything else?
Yes, page 5. Item number 3, the business administrator / chief financial officer shall be permitted to work from home 1 day per week and during inclement weather. Additional remote hours may be permitted with the approval of the mayor. I have a big problem with this one. I'm wondering who else in the borough is permitted to work from home? Anyone?
Councilman Revelinsky, do you remember any other
It's in the
CFO?
personnel book.
I don't.
Do you remember any CFO working from home in
No.
Milltown? How about you, Madam Mayor? You remember anything about this?
Before COVID or after COVID?
You know,
Before COVID.
it's amazing how.
I didn't know COVID was still
How
on,
since
Phil.
COVID,
actually still a
our
thing.
work has changed.
And thankfully, we're out of COVID. But we've got here, shall be permitted to work from home 1 day a week. I'd like to amend that contract and have it say not work from home.
Well, right now, we're on.
Well, but you're
the-
trying to adopt a contract that you haven't even promulgated with the rest of council.
But Councilman Revelinsky.
That's been on your mind since March and you haven't done anything with it.
For the record, you've made a motion to deny
The
the
entire
resolution.
contract.
So,
I'm giving all my reasons
no, I
why
understand,
this
but
should
then
not
you're
be done.
indicating you want to amend the
No,
contract
no,
that
the
you don't
motion
want to
on the
adopt.
table is still to deny.
I understand, so I'm just,
That's what we're,
yeah,
that's the vote.
logistically
all my
trying to make
reasons
sure we're
why.
all on the same page.
Should I ask
All
a
my
question?
reasons
Who
why.
wrote this contract?
I think it should also state that if we were to give a contract, that any remote additional hours should be
Personnel committee
approved in
meeting.
writing by the governing body
How come
by
it's a borough?
resolution on a case-by-case basis.
So. could-
As we move into sick leave, we
Could-
have,
could-
go ahead.
Okay, sorry. You were both
Oh,
talking
I'm just
at the
wondering if I
same-
convinced everyone.
Hold on a second, you're both talking at the same time, so I'm not catching what either
Who
one of
wrote the
you are saying.
contract?
I provided the contract.
What-
For
what now-
review by the Personnel Committee.
Holy
And the Labor Council, just like when the police chief submitted his was written by himself, which was reviewed by the Labor Council.
What do we got a
and
labor
the
council, they're
Personnel
gonna put their name on
Committee.
there for?
And this follows the template that I saw online when I was looking up some of the statutes about this. So basically, it starts, Councilman Collins, with a template that's online for all.
Well, excuse me.
I'm finishing my response. For all BAs and CFOs, there are standard language that you grab from the state, and this is aligned very, very similarly with what I saw there.
I've never heard of anybody writing their own contract. What do we got a labor council for? If somebody's writing their own contract, do they rubber stamp?
I believe it was a collaboration.
This is why we have closed sessions or executive sessions before we'll present
This
the
is
contract.
a real problem for me.
Okay.
So sick leave, Article 5, page 5, item number 1, it says sick leave is hereby defined, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. I don't see any minimum increments, and I'd like to see that be at least a minimum of 4-hour increments. Again, why I cannot approve this contract tonight by any means.
Okay.
That may
Item
be-
number 4,
Rich,
I'm
Rich,
curious about the,
Rich, that one might be governed by the state.
well, do we have that? Is that governed by the state or the employee handbook on how many hours you have to take in order to take sick leave? Does the employee handbook govern
Yes,
how many
it
hours
does.
the minimum block?
1.
Okay, but this contract does not reference anything regarding the employee handbook? Okay. So here we have sick leave shall accrue for the business administrator / chief financial officer at the rate of 15 working days in every calendar year of employment. And I'm just wondering what other towns have as far as the number
Everyone.
of sick leave days.
Civil service.
Civil service requirement? Thank you for clarifying.
Everybody has 15 days.
We all have the same amount of sick days.
Does that also go here for the $15,000 to be paid out if they don't
Civil
use the sick
service.
leave? That's all sick
Civil service.
leave? Really? And it's nothing in regards to paying half or whichever is less? I believe the police contract states that they can only carry over half of that time.
No, they carry it all over.
Bereavement, we have 5 consecutive calendar days for bereavement. Is that consistent with every other contract that we have in
Yeah,
the borough?
that's standard.
I don't know why I'm answering the question.
Vacation leave, is this one standard as well? Because I'm seeing that in 2023, they were entitled for 4 weeks.
Which I've been
Which
getting
is
since I
5
was
weeks.
hired.
Okay, and now it's going to be 5 weeks in 2024 by adoption of this contract. But yet, we're also going up in salary, which I'll get to in a minute. So we're going up in salary, and we're also going up in time off. So it's my understanding that the 5-year officers in the police department only get 13 days off for 8-hour shift personnel, which is 104 hours. And then for 6 to 12-year officers, they get 16 days. So we're already at 20 and we want to go to 25? Who negotiated this contract?
Wasn't me.
I didn't think so.
Last I saw was a copy in March. And here's, Madam Mayor, here's your email, 152 on Tuesday, 11/21. I understand reviewing the potential agenda of that police chief contract needs to be addressed. I will like to set up a quick meeting and get your input. Are you available tonight or tomorrow? That's Tuesday, and you did it at 9 o'clock the next morning. That gave me a lot of time.
And that's for the police chief contract. I don't hear anything about the BA CFO
Yeah,
contract.
didn't say anything about the BA.
I followed up with additional contracts.
Of course you did. Nobody was
A
there.
day ahead.
No, I asked you, but did you
When was this? I know
Did you-
mine's bad, but I don't know it's that bad.
Did you respond at all?
No,
Today's
no,
Monday.
I didn't see it.
So you had
It's the day before Thanksgiving, you know?
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Who has a meeting, well, unless you're trying to pull something fast, but
Friday,
obviously.
Saturday, Sunday. The mayor-elect called me on Wednesday to ask about it. Why didn't you?
And you told them, foo-foo, change it next year.
No, I didn't. What I indicated was that it's not a tenured thing. You are not required to follow it. We are doing what we feel is right for the borough to contractualize a role that has not been addressed this year. And then under no circumstances are you bound to keep anyone, do anything, and you have your free will come January 1st.
Well, about it, Mayor, it sounds strange in a lame duck session that you're passing contracts.
Well, you know,
I think that's under, isn't it under
it's
Article
funny that, you mentioned that because
5213H1D? Isn't there a prohibition on that in the state contract?
there is the.
Well, where's our labor attorney when we need her?
The has been available. I heard that
I don't even know what her name is.
council people have spoken to the labor attorney. If you were so concerned about it, why didn't you bring this up before you got
I
here?
got hit with this Wednesday.
This was such a pressing issue.
Happy
Why is it being
Thanksgiving.
brought
There's
up at the end of
contracts.
November?
What I will say to you, Councilman Collins, is I went to 8th grade here in Milltown. I had Mr. Vetter, as I'm sure a lot of other people did, and we learned civics and government. And yes, we learned about lame duck sessions. Government still continues until the next group takes over. So all we are doing is governing. You can vote yes or you can vote no. We are not hamstringing you with anything that you cannot address when the new
Mayor.
members are sworn in. We are addressing what is in front of us here this evening. So
I got a real
we have
problem
right
with
now
this.
a motion to deny.
Wait a minute, I'm not finished talking here.
Vote on it.
I have a problem with this because according to this, it says, according to the mayor, authorizing the mayor to execute employment contracts, but you have council people here.
Why-
Why are you usurping our authority here?
I am
Unless
not-
you want to rule with an iron fist this
I am
town in
not-
your last days.
I am not, that is not. where are
Councilman
you-
Collins, I wrote the resolution. All that's saying is that when you execute a contract, you're signing it. The
Yeah, but this
entire,
says authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
No, in
Cannot-
every
Sir.
Mine
contract.
says, maybe I can't read it anymore. but-
no. It says authorize it, yes. Because you as a council have to vote yes, but you as a council do not all sign the contract.
Yeah, but this is authorizing, we're authorizing the mayor to sign the contract.
If you
Yes,
vote-
by you voting yes to the
No, I would have, all the personnel committee should sign it.
No, see, here's how it works. If it's any contract, whether it's, we're gonna get a new garbage collector, once the council votes on it, then a piece of paper is put in front of the mayor to sign. Now, if you vote no, there will be no paper to put in front of us because it wasn't authorized by the council. It is not, has nothing to do with me. I was the conduit to say, here you go, let's let the council review this. And you bringing up your comments, and then the council will vote. If the council votes yes, I will sign it. If they vote no, I will not. It's as simple as that.
So everyone should vote yes on the motion that's in front of us right now?
So that is on the motion to deny. If we want to go ahead and take the roll, are we clear? This is
Well,
on a
I have
motion
a
to
few more
deny.
questions here. So the 2023 salary that's stated here, Article 6 on page 8, says $32,000 for CFO for the year of 2023. And in 2024, that goes up to $34,000, which is a 6.25% increase. In 2025, $35,000, which is 2.94% increase on top of that. And finally, in 2026, $36,000, a 2.8% increase. I'm just wondering if 2.8%, 6.25, 2.94 is what we would consider standard for increases when we've offered police departments 0 for year 1 in their contracts. Secondly, let's look at the business administrator salaries, going from 123 to 126, a 2.44% increase. Then from 24 to 25, a 2.38 increase of $3,000. And again, on top of that, another $3,000 of 2.32%. Is that standard? I don't think so. We have here Article 7. I think that's 7 up. It might be 12 because my Roman numerals are a little off. I'm rusty on that. But education programs and conferences. The business administrator / chief financial officer shall be permitted to attend and be compensated for it should say his or her, regular salary, any school, seminar, or retaining session conducted of management or supervisory and or financial related nature. The problem I have here is that it doesn't require anyone at mayor or council to approve it first. So what's to stop our business administrator or chief financial officer from taking off to go educate themselves and be better at their job at our expense when they're supposed to be here doing their job? Another reason why I will not be approving this.
Yes,
Article 14, right, that's an X1V, that's 14, I'm getting better. This agreement represents and incorporates the complete and final understanding and settlement by the parties, and I understand this is kind of boilerplate, but I'm wondering again, who negotiated it, when it was negotiated, and when did we come to these final terms that are put before us tonight?
Anything else?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
No answer.
Article 3, I'm too busy writing my own contract. Article 3. Article 3 says serves as chief of staff to mayor and council, but according to this, it says when she wants time off, she only has to go to the mayor. According to Article 4, Section 3, it says the business administrator, chief or executive officer shall be permitted to work from home 1 day a week during inclement during inclement weather. So that's more than 1 day a week. And remotely may be permitted by the mayor. Well,
She reports to the mayor, John.
but it says mayor and council here.
No, chief of staff to the mayor and council.
I didn't know we had a chief of staff to the council.
That's what her position would be.
You see, I don't understand why we're giving people contracts for the end of the year. This is ridiculous, but.
Okay. Any other comments?
So
All right.
I'll just add that when I spoke to the Labor Council about all of this, I was addressing a concern that Councilman Revelinsky reached out to me on Wednesday and asked me to consider what was going on with this contract, and particularly a concern about tenure. This is not a contract that states it's an appointment. It is a contract that states terms of employment. And she actually thought we were placing the incoming council in a very good position by doing this, by having this person in place. When you have a 2/3 majority, you can vote and decide what to do next. But right now, not being the current council members, you can't take action. So you can't have someone who's ready to go on January 1st. But you will have someone who is in place. When you make a decision, it may be to keep the existing status quo. It may be to change to a completely different entity, but she felt like we were putting you in a good place to have that person there and create a transition period if you were making a change, because once you have that 2/3 majority vote to make any type of change, there is a 90-day period, that's all. It's not the full term, the length of this contract, which I think is the fear that has been generated among our public and among some of our council members who didn't take the opportunity to speak to Labor Council. But I am confident, having had that conversation, that tenure is not involved and that we are placing the incoming council actually in a very good position. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Were the salary increases that we're seeing before us today included in the 2023 budget? Because how could they be if we didn't even think about them back then?
Money was included for increases.
Is that why we have a resolution here authorizing budget transfers?
No.
No.
We'll get to that one next.
Any other comments? All right, so
Yes,
then,
Madam Mayor, I just got to say one thing. Write your own contract, that seems like the tail wagging the dog.
So again, the Labor Council directed me to a site, and I wasn't actually looking to find terms of contracts. I was actually looking for information about tenure. But what I found were boilerplate contracts, and with someone writing their own contract, they're taking that boilerplate and inserting the name of the borough, or changing if it says township to say borough. But there's a lot that's built into exactly what we're allowed to do, whether it's this council or the incoming mayor and council, so.
What are we paying the labor attorney $600 an hour for? Just say, go write your own contract? That's just foolishness.
Again, they review anything to make sure that all of the things that are in there are correct.
Do we
She
have
doesn't put her
anything,
name on it either.
The majority is.
do we have anything from Labor Council in writing saying that they've reviewed this contract and found it to be sufficient?
In writing? No.
Yeah, in writing.
No.
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 There we go. So we're going by everyone's word here.
That's right.
Okay,
And-
I'm going by the numbers. $123,000 plus $32,000 comes to what? $155. And then next year, 126 plus 34 brings us to 160. For a small town that can't even fix a sidewalk out front for months at a time, we're just gonna throw another $6,000 at a problem, don't worry. Like I said, no on this one.
So we have a motion to deny in front of us. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
No.
Councilman Collins.
Yes, denied.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
No.
Councilman Peretti.
No.
Councilman Potter.
Respectfully, aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Mayor.
No.
So now we need a motion on Resolution 302.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman O'Donnell, second by Councilman Peretti. Any discussion?
What was that motion? To table it?
To
I didn't
approve.
hear.
No, this is a motion to vote on 302.
We did vote.
Motion to approve,
You
correct?
I didn't
motioned-
hear approved, that's why, like, what
I'm
the
sorry,
vote
to
is.
approve it. The motion to deny was denied. The motion to deny was denied, so now the motion is on the table to approve the resolution. That is what this motion is for.
And we have a motion by Councilwoman O'Donnell, second by Councilman Peretti. Will the clerk please call?
I'll add discussion to this too, though.
Okay.
So, and just to, I know we've kind of covered the conversation already in the prior motion. So, one, if there's entertaining to motion to amendments, I think that's something that we can discuss at this moment. I'm looking to Peter to nod. If they wanted to do motions to amendments, we could do
Amend
them
what?
now. Say again?
Motion to amend the
If-
resolution itself?
Yes. Could that be entertained right
Oh, you mean the contract?
You
now?
could-
Contract, sorry, the contract, yeah.
Well, at this point, you have a motion to approve it.
Okay, sorry.
You would have
So
made a
it's
motion to
different.
amend, most
Okay,
likely
got it. Thank you.
preceding that motion.
Perfect, thank you. So I know that was a good conversation earlier, and then my 2 cents, I guess, on the conversation of this is, to Councilman Revelinsky's point, talking about the numbers. For the BA and CFO combined salary and pay structure for the next 3 years, regardless of who fills that office, I think that's a competitive salary for the Borough of Milltown and within Middlesex County. And if the Borough of Milltown is wanting to have a sustainable financial future, you have to have somebody who is going to garner that pay with those skill sets inside that office. Regardless of who that person is, if they are expected to fulfill the responsibilities set forth in the contract for CFO and BA. That's a salary we have to pay for that person. Again, this is not binding that salary to a individual. It's setting forth a negotiable salary for that office now. It sets the standard for our office going forward. I think that is a win for the Borough of Milltown for whenever a BA or CFO, whether that's a combined position or a separated position, you have now a standard precedent to set against to say, I want it to be higher or lower to compare against. I think that's a good bargaining tool to have in Milltown. Without it, bringing someone in, you have now on paper something to measure against. And I think that's useful for anyone coming into office. So that's why obviously, I voted to support this resolution to say this now is the standard that now can be used as a going forward and have a written memorialized contract to then compare against for future iterations.
I will just add that a number of people reached out via email. Some people spoke today, and I hope that you recognize that we have addressed the concerns that you presented, that tenure is not at play here, that was a misunderstanding likely. So it's not at play, and that we are setting up the future council to be able to move forward immediately on January 1st and have a nice period of transition if they would like one.
Anyone else?
Yes, I'd actually, I'd like to say thank you to Councilman Peretti. I know we disagree on this issue, but I will say his comments have been thoughtful and precise. I thought you did a good job there explaining it. I will say that my biggest problem with this, and again, it's not about the individual.
Yep.
This is about a contract coming forth last minute with numbers and terms that the rest of council has not seen. And similar in fashion to the gentleman for the risk management, I think that if this was so pertinent, we should have really looked at this as council earlier in the year, perhaps a couple closed sessions, and discussed what the implications are going to be, and taken action then, not now. But I thank you for all your comments on it.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd just like to say I agree with Councilman Revelinsky about Councilman Peretti's comments. I'd also like to say that, when I was young, I lived through the Kennedy assassination, and even the country can do without a president and has ways to go around it. There's nobody the world stops for, so, we can't memorialize somebody as having a set of skills that are unique to themselves, except maybe Picasso.
Actually, the state statute does say that there has to be a CFO. That was a question that I asked. I said, what happens if, come January 1st?
So we have to fill the seat right away, is that what you're saying?
You have to have a CEO, whether it be an interim CEO or a permanent, CFO. Thank you for
We can't get an
clarifying,
interim, is that
CFO.
what you're saying?
You can either have a permanent or an interim, you can have a tenured, an appointment, but you do, the state statute, and you can look it up and read it for yourself, don't have to.
You know what number that is?
Believe.
Right. It has to be,
Yeah.
you're required to have one.
Yeah.
Right.
But how you
Required to
appoint
have
one
Yeah.
is different.
Right, I'm sure there has to be some leeway in time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
The
They only
10,
swore Johnson
so
in
if
the
you,
plane,
if
but I
people
mean, he
did
was the
want to
president.
read it, in answer to your question, 40A:9-140.8 is about tenure for the CFO, and the one that has the information about mandatory, I might have to look that up and give it to you, about the interim. I'm gonna have to look that up and give it to you separately, but I'm happy to do that.
I'm just looking out for the best interest of the taxpayers here. That's what I'm trying to do.
And I believe that everyone that's going to vote here, that's why they're sitting on council, have the best interest of the taxpayers. I mean, one thing is that you can look at this in its entirety and say what's right and what's fair, and, it's not precluding anyone from changing anything, but there are certain safeguards and things that have been done for the borough that are good. So, it's not all negative, and so I would encourage everybody to vote on what they think is fair and correct. So will the clerk please call the roll? This is to approve the Resolution 302-2020.
Before we do, I have one more question for our borough attorney. Given that the resolution includes a copy of the contract, if we were to amend the contract, whether it be financially or other requirements within there, are we then forced to abide by the existing contract if the BA/CFO decides not to agree with those changes? In other words, like if we wanted to reduce the amount of time off or give more.
That's, you could change it, then you'd have to have another resolution, right?
Well, you would have a contract, and you have a contract that specifies the terms of the contract. Not having gone through it, I don't see how it's amended, but you have a person who is ostensibly an at-will employee as your BA, so you certainly can renegotiate because you don't have to keep them,
Thank you.
if that makes sense.
Thank you for clarifying.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
No.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Respectfully, no.
Councilman Revelinsky.
No.
Mayor.
Aye. Next, will the clerk please read Resolution 303, 2023 by title?
Authorizing the mayor to execute employment agreement with chief of police.
Make a
For
motion,
the reading of this resolution, what is your pleasure? Sorry.
make a motion that the resolution be adopted.
I second.
I have a motion by Councilman Preddy, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Are we going to be here on January 1st redoing this?
What do you mean?
Because of the
Authorizing
swearing in?
the police chief. Doesn't that usually happen at the first of the year?
It's the contract. It's not the swearing in. It's his employment contract.
Right, but don't we do that at the first of the year, the contracts? When we swear him in, we give him a contract before he's in the office.
He's already been appointed, John.
Right, I understand, but don't you do that when he's here on January 1st?
You don't have to do it that way, John.
Isn't that traditionally what we do?
No.
No.
I just have a question about, I'm wondering what, if anything, other than perhaps maybe salary for adjusting for the current time, is different between this contract and the previous chief's contract?
Pretty much nothing.
Pretty much nothing.
Other than salary, it's the
Salary.
same.
That's it.
And so you don't have a problem with him writing his contract, right, John?
No, I do.
No, okay.
Well, we saw, if it's the same contract that was before, that was reviewed by Labor Council at that time, so. It's already been-
Like the contract, yeah, they all.
He didn't write it,
Correct.
it was the same contract.
Correct. They've all had their due
It's a
diligence.
difference.
Right. Any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
So moved. And finally, will the clerk please read Resolution 304, 2023, authorizing, or by title only?
Authorizing budget transfers.
For the reading of this resolution, what is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor,
motion
make a motion this resolution be adopted.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Any discussion?
Yes, I understand what the budget transfers are, but I'm wondering why we are transferring these monies now? What was not used, and what is it being intended to be spent upon?
So you are only allowed to transfer monies the last 2 months of the current year and the first 3 months of the future year. The reason they're being transferred is because of over expenditures of other line items. So the police budget, for example, the overtime salaries were over $100,000, and that's a big transfer that's going there.
How much did we pay to that company that does the coordination for scheduling the police hours? How much did they take out of their VIG?
I want to say it was 10% of the 18% that we collect. So we charge
1.8% total.
We charge 18% administrative fee, and they take 10 of the 18.
And with all the PSE&G work that's been going on, what is that dollar value?
Most of the PSE&G work that has happened over the past 3 years, the borough has netted on that. It's only been the last several months that the, I want to say 6 months.
How much money?
I don't know off the top of my head. And that would not go in for salaries. That's an administrative fee that goes into a miscellaneous revenue. It's
And then it couldn't be
completely-
transferred over to salaries?
No, because it's a revenue. You can't transfer revenues into appropriations.
Any other discussion? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
No.
So moved. Next, we'll move on to reports from officials. We'll start with Councilwoman Margaret O'Donnell.
All right, I have some hot off the presses, breaking news, very excited to tell you. This is from Chief Kennelly. An arrest was made for the string of car break-ins. Officer McCabe went out on foot in plain clothes and caught him in action. So we're very excited to share that information. I have a brief announcement too from Chief Jolly, that pictures with Santa will be at the firehouse on Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. That's always fun. Did not have anything to add from the rescue squad tonight, but I did want to mention that I picked up information at the recent League of Municipalities convention that seemed to apply for all different departments, so I have things to bring to our incoming chief of police about membership in that organization, for DPW, for the fire department. Very excited that found a company about grant writing, and I think that'll be very valuable to the incoming council to have some potential assistance with obtaining grant funding, because that has certainly helped the borough out a great deal. And I will reserve any extra time for what I know will be some longer reports next meeting.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Councilman Dave Potter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For utilities, for the PSE&G project, the service main installation of the gas line work has concluded as of today. The only item left to do is the retirement of 2 regulators, which will take about one day to do. However, this won't happen until the regulator crew is available in the next few weeks. For a water utilities project, the work on Highland Drive in East Lawrence is completed, and I look forward to Mr. McClellan from C&E to provide an update regarding what's left on the project to be done. Finally, Madam Mayor, I would like to thank our water sewer department for handling 2 recent water main breaks. One was on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and the second one was yesterday. Service was done internally and restored within the same day, so thank you very much to our crew for that. And finally, Madam Mayor, regarding Planning Board, the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December 6th, and that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Next, we have Councilman Rich Revelinsky.
No DPW report for this evening. However, for the library, I'd like to mention the following. The Milltown Pharmacy will have flu shot clinic on Wednesday, November 29th. I probably should have gotten mine earlier, between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m., so please register with the library for that. The Friends of the Milltown Library will have a Jingle Jangle jewelry sale on Saturday, December 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Enjoy yoga in a pressure-free setting, which I guess means I can go and not feel bad about stretching, on Tuesday, December 5th at 9:15 a.m. After-school origami with Mrs. Wright on Wednesday, December 6th at 3 p.m. Painting with baby, 0 to 18 months old with a guardian, of course, on Saturday, December 9th at 11 a.m., followed by Read to a Pooch at 12:30 p.m. Please register for the Paint with a Baby. The Library Board of Trustees meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 12th, 6:30 p.m. The public is invited to attend, and of course, for any additional information, please call the library at 732-247-2270. I'd also like to second Councilwoman O'Donnell's notion there on catching that burglar. I know the community really came together there, posting their videos and sharing it so that all the residents could see where it was happening. And that goes a long way to helping catch these criminals. So please, if you see something, say something. If your car's broken into and you only lose $5 or $10, well, maybe they took your neighbor's garage door opener and their house is going to get robbed the next night. So please, report these issues to the Milltown Police. And that concludes my reports.
Thank you. And next, we have Councilman John Collins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a short report from the Board of Ed. Congratulations to Mayuri Lashashman and Shannon Costello for being selected as the staff members of the month. Congratulations to Mary O'Mara, Joanne Demetrio, and Robert Schaffhauser for being elected to the Milltown Board of Education. Starting in September 24, they're going to have a school breakfast program, but it'll be only for 15 minutes. So, and let's see what we got here. Saturday and Sunday, it'll be the Winter Wonderland takes place, and you could donate food if you'd like. They're taking food donations. And let's see, I believe that's it, Madam Mayor. Yep, that's it, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Councilman James Peretti.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. From the Recreation Department, the youth fall soccer, tennis, flag football, and multi-sport seasons have all come to an end, and we've had a successful season. We look forward to seeing everyone in the spring. Late fall soccer clinics are scheduled to begin on Thursday, November 16th at Parkview. They subsequently began. The adult yoga, men's basketball, women's volleyball winter registration will be opening. Youth basketball registration has opened, and the deadline is December 29th. Program will begin on January 20th. As always, we welcome volunteer coaches. Our annual tree lighting ceremony will be on Friday, December 1st. Festivities will begin at 6:30 p.m., and Santa will arrive on the fire truck at 7 p.m. And a little plug for that is always an awesome, awesome event at Borough Hall. So please bring the family, enjoy it. That's, again, a lot of special stuff in this community. That's one of them. So please try to attend. As well as the Winter Wonderland that Councilman Collins mentioned. That whole weekend will be very fun-filled. Please be sure to visit our recreation webpage at milltownnj.org/recreation to familiarize yourself with upcoming programs and new activities, along with park locations. To register for any of the programs, you register at Community Pass, which there is a link at the Borough website. Additionally, the Recreation Department will be hosting a holiday family movie night on Friday, December 15th at 6:30 p.m. at Parkview School in the gymnasium. We ask all families to register on Community Pass for the free event. Please feel welcome to wear your holiday pajamas and watch the screening of The Grinch, the original Grinch. And we look forward to seeing people there. So we have a couple weekends filled with holiday events leading into the holiday season. For committees, Revitalization Committee, we met for our November meeting. Had a successful meeting, had a member of the community come who is interested in joining. So my, once again, plug for the citizen leadership application. Now is definitely the time. Our clerk is already reaching out to the relative committees to make sure people are registering. So for the residents who are interested in joining the committees, particularly revitalization, we always need more. But that one individual already had a massive amount of contribution. So special shout out to PJ Strom. Thank you for attending the meeting. And finally, the Recreation Advisory Committee met in November, and our new rec director, Kelly Boyd, led a fantastic meeting steps. And she already has a plan of action for multiple steps in terms of bettering communication with our volunteer coaches and starting to look for more creative programming ideas, like family movie night at Parkview. So again, just kudos to Kelly as well as her staff with Kim, and hopefully if you're interested in doing events like that or having idea sessions around recreation-sponsored events, Recreation Advisory Committee is the committee for you. And that concludes my reports.
Great, thank you. And next we have Council President Bill Zambrano.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do not have a Finance Committee report tonight. I do not have a Senior Center report at this time. I will say, though, for Senior Center activities and what's going on, I urge everyone to go to the milltownnj.org site, navigate to the Senior Center, and that's where you can see all the things that are available to the residents in town. Ford Avenue meeting was Tuesday, 21st. At that meeting, the annual audit was presented and approved. The 2024 budget was presented and approved. There are conferences that are scheduled in December, settlement conferences, I should say, in December, with additional conferences to be scheduled in mid-2024 for all the goings on at Ford Avenue. The last Ford Avenue meeting was actually televised. That is something that I'd like to thank Russ Einbein and the Cable TV Committee for making that happen, making sure that that's available for all folks moving forward. So we know that people can't sometimes make it down there, but if they can actually find out and get some updates, especially people who are new to the town, by watching the meeting, that's the whole purpose of having that done. And the Milltown Historical Preservation Committee meeting was not held because it was actually on Thanksgiving, so it would be, the next meeting is going to be in December, last Thursday in December. And that concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you. Our administrator, Ms. Larison, anything?
No report tonight.
When is the holiday party for the employees?
The holiday party for the employees is December 8th, Friday, at the Senior Center, 12:30 to 4:30.
Great, thank you. Our Borough Attorney, Mr. Vignola.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
And finally, our Borough Engineer, Mr. McClellan.
Yes, Madam Mayor, just a few items tonight. First, on West Foch Avenue, we have contacted the contractor, Z Brothers, and he's indicated he'd like to work on some of the utility improvements on Foch through the winter months. We will discuss this further with your administrator relative to disturbance to the residents and access in the wintertime with regard to trying to get the work started. DOT has contacted us indicating there's a technicality with the resolution of award with regard to the extension of time. We'll prepare a draft resolution, work with your staff for the next meeting. Clayton Court, as you know, we've been trying to get some of the final items completed. We're happy to report that that's been done, and hopefully by your next meeting we'll recommend a final closeout. And lastly, with regard to the water improvements, as Councilman Potter indicated, the work has been completed. We've been asked to see what the cost would be to expand some of the restoration of the roadways. We're waiting for prices from the contract. Hopefully we'll have something at your next meeting.
Great.
Could I ask
Basically,
a
yes.
question?
Sure.
So just for a resident who posted something, I know we don't generally respond to Facebook, but it's something I noticed. Could you just explain one more time about why they let things settle before they do the paving?
Well, what typically happens when the trenches are backfilled, they're compacted, but you can't always get a full compaction. So generally, if it's the type of trench that has properly been backfilled and maintained, you can put your surface course on. But it's not always recommended because you do get differences in the soils. So you prefer to wait till springtime to go through the final restoration. That's generally what we do.
Okay,
And
thank
believe me,
you.
if there's a trench problem and there's a resident with a concern, we will monitor through the wintertime with your public works department. If there's an issue, we'll have them come in and put a surface course on it just for that little spot, okay? But I think it's best to get this work done in springtime. When we get done with whether it's trench or full width restoration, it's a better way to go.
Okay, great, thank you. I hope people who are on some of the Facebook pages have heard that, since we are not, our communication policy doesn't allow us to type a response to that, but thank you very much.
That's all we have, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I just have one question, Mike. Did you say that work, the restoration work, was going to be done in the spring, or is it going to be done before the end of the year on highway?
I would say, depending on whether or not you do the trench or the full width, springtime is a better call.
Not between now and the end of the year.
That's right.
Beautiful, thanks.
But you did say you're going to go and check to make sure that.
Yeah, our people will be out there checking it, make sure, as if it settles in the winter, we'll have them out and fix it.
Excellent. Thanks.
All right?
Okay, and now on to me. So as we've said, we have a lot going on in the borough in the next few weeks, lots of holiday events going on. It's kicked off by the tree lighting on Friday. I want to thank Kelly Boyd and Kim McGrath. They reached out to me today, and we will have a very special guest at the tree lighting. A girl in town was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in January 2023. She's undergoing treatment, and she has an incredible spirit, so they reached out to the family, and they said that she is thrilled and honored to be the tree lighter this year. So we thank her for that. That's a wonderful thing. And then we will see everyone at the Winter Wonderland after that. So, anyway, moving on to old business. Does any member of the council have any old business to bring before us this evening?
Madam Mayor, yes, I probably couldn't include this in council reports, but there's been an outstanding council or committee conversation about Patina Avenue for the Human Relations Committee, but we haven't met Human Relations Committee in the past month. We're still in our finishing up our final recommendation to the Borough Council as well as to the administration of how to handle that renaming. Again, that will be for the incoming council to implement and address as they see fit, but the recommendation is we have a recommendation for plan of action, as well as within that plan of action, how the committee thinks is the most streamlined process of fee reimbursement for the homeowners to change their necessary documentation to put minimum burden on the homeowners. Plan of action for communication to the homeowners to proactively engage them, establish the timeline of when things are going to happen in terms of scheduling resolutions to the council and providing them upfront documentation so they don't have to search for it in terms of address changes and whatnot, and also provide transparency of what they have to change and what they don't have to change, because sometimes that can be murky online as well. So again, could have included that in my initial report, but I know that's come up in a few council meetings, so I wanted to report on it.
And that's been a discussion for a long time. How many homes?
Two homeowners, so it's not many letters we have to draft. But yes, we'll have clear communication, and then that'll be something that will be in the council and administration's hands for 2024.
Okay, great. Good to hear that it's moving forward. Any other old business? Hearing none, I'll close old business and move on to new business. Does any member of the council have any new business to bring before us this evening? Hearing none, I will open to public comments. Hang on 1 second. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished. It should be noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the podium. Yes.
Good evening. My name is John Madden, 39 Ramsey Road, Middlesex. Wonderful meeting here. I'm excited to see that the parliamentary process is really working well. My one comment, regarding the CFO contract, BA contract, I think from a transparency point of view, it doesn't look good if a meeting like this is near the end of the term where a new administration is coming in. Number two, to me, encumbering the new administration the old administration for the new administration with the rules and everything, I don't think is very transparent, and I think residents will notice that. So I just wanted to say that because it kind of bothers me, and the other thing is, what's wrong with a renewal of just a one-year contract? There's really nothing. So let it fall on the new administration. And if I'm not mistaken, this is more of a legal issue. I'm not sure if it's the BA position or the, excuse me, laryngitis, the BA position or the CFO, that if a 3-year contract is awarded, I think there's some loophole in the law, I'm not an attorney, that would count the first year and would coincide that into the 4 years. So can I ask the attorney that, or no?
No.
Okay. But I think that's the case. I think that's a loophole in the law. But everybody should be aware of it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ladies.
Hello, my name is Tigist.
Jessica Newcomb, 311 North Main.
And 32 Vanway, Burlington Township. But I lived in Edison and in Brunswick, and I know Milltown. I used to bring my kids at the park here, so I enjoyed it. And thank you guys for giving us a chance. So we are from Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, and as you guys hopefully know, that we've been on strike since August 4. So today is like 115 days since we've been out for safe staffing. And we are asking a resolution to pass a bill of A4536 and Senate Bill S304. That is safe staffing. We are trying to have it passed as a legislation eventually. So this is safe staffing. It's been up since 2004, almost 20 years, but right now it's going overboard. Like the nurses, we are tired. 1,700 nurses are out on the street, and the hospital has replaced us with travel nurses, paying almost like double and triple amount of money. As of this week, probably like 140 or over million. 140 million. They've been paying so far or over. So we are asking safe staffing because safe staffing is the patient ratio. One nurse has more than 6 patients. That's what's going to happen. So far, we have 6 patients, and the turnover is very high, and so we end up having more than 6 patients, and we're not able to give the care that we want to give to our patients. And I don't know if any of you have been in the hospital or your loved ones. We cannot attend, if they call for pain medication, we cannot give them pain medication. We leave them in the bathroom. Somebody called for chest pain, we cannot attend them. A shortness of breath, the same thing. I had a patient who with the stroke symptom, and I had to take that patient to a CAT scan, and that CAT scan has to be done within few minutes, 2 hours. And if that is not done and the stroke is not ruled out or ruled in, the medication cannot be administered. And if that medication is not given, that patient will end up being paralyzed. But unfortunately, I was working with her with 2 nurses because we were short, and with no assistant at all, I could not leave her by herself because there were other like almost 9 patients, and I could not leave those patients to her. So we are struggling, and we want the community to help us, because when we have safe staffing, it helps less infection, less falls, and the mortality rate will be less, because if one nurse has one more patient, more than 5, above like 6 or 7, there's a high risk of like 7% that goes up to every patient, that the death rate. And the studies have been done that the patient ratio makes a difference. California has 4. One nurse has only 4 patients. In the ICUs over there, they have 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. Over here, our ICU nurses are getting tripled. During COVID, we went through a lot. I was in charge of almost 3 floors at that point. I had wrapped 9 bodies on one night. 9 bodies, and we didn't even have bags to wrap. And those times right now, they have been forgotten. Nobody remembers that time. And there was no CFO or CNO or CEO that came at that time. It was just us, the nurses, with the patient, holding the patient, because none of the families were even allowed unless they were willing to go in the COVID rooms. We were the one to hold the phone, to say their last goodbye, to listen to their last word, and just holding their hands. We got sick. None of this higher management got sick. We got sick.
So the only thing that they did remember from our time was that somehow we managed to do the work of 2, 3 nurses, and they still want us to work like that, and we just can't. So in order to help us get a fair contract that has ratios in it, it would be more important to have this done at the state level, so those ratios would have to match our contract. And that's why we're asking for the bill, as well as the Senate bill, for a resolution to support us doing that.
Madam Mayor, can we make a motion to add this to a resolution for the support in our next meeting?
So, yes, so that was going to be my question.
I'm
I'll second
I
that.
mean,
I'm sorry.
I gave you all a draft of the resolution,
So
so
you're
you could
asking
motion
for
to
us
do the
to-
resolution now.
Make
so
a
that-
motion that we adopt, we'll number this 305-2023?
And I will second.
Because I got to, and
305 is correct.
305, sorry. And I got to say that, as we were speaking, I was reading this, I read it a little bit earlier, but some of the ratios that you have in here, even those seem a little light, but just to point it out, 1 registered professional nurse for every 2 patients in critical care. That seems appropriate to me. Anything
Yeah.
less than that, I would be nervous with. I mean, we talk about intensive care, neonatal care, burn units. 1 registered professional nurse for every patient under anesthesia in an operating room. That makes sense. I don't know how you have a person under anesthesia without a nurse there. So I commend you guys for coming forward and presenting this to us. So I know we have a motion on the floor here to adopt this resolution as written, and hopefully our state assembly and senators look kindly on this and move it along.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
Councilman Revelinsky, it does say a copy of this resolution should be adopted and given to our assemblyman and
So-
senator as well.
Thank you. Then on the side note, we've been out for how many, it's like close to 4 months now. We don't have any health insurance, and they think we are out for money, and we are not. I've been in Robert Johnson almost close to 19 years. I'm a nurse, and also I'm a nurse practitioner, and nursing is my call. I do the nurse practitioner, but I love doing nursing. And there are so many new nurses that I feel so bad for them because they're not getting trained. They are getting oriented and precepted by the new nurse, and they don't like nursing now. They're living the profession without even being a nurse more than 6 months. They're doing something else. We have so many nurses. They keep saying we have shortage of nurses, but we have so many nurses with active license, but they don't want to practice. It's close to 40,000 nurses in New Jersey with license but not practicing. And just because of the working conditions. They're not taking breaks and all that. So we just need help.
Yeah, my mother was a nurse, and you have my wholehearted support. Anything I can do to help you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
So,
for everything you
do
do.
we just need a voice vote?
I need
or-
a second.
I have a motion by Councilman Revelinsky, second by Councilman Potter. Do we need to do roll call, Monica, or just voice vote?
Do it all.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Robert Spacuzzo. I live at 217 Garrettson Circle.
I'm sorry, can you say your last name again? I'm sorry.
Spacuzzo. I'm here tonight to address the council about the gate on Garrettson Circle. I've reached out to the council in the past, had some minor resolutions, but I've been there about 11 years. For the first 7 years or so, that gate was locked every night. The arms worked.
Silver line?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I was just going to
I
ask the same.
apologize. Sorry. No. You know, I've been there for years. For the first 7, 8 years of living there, that gate was closed, padlocked every night. The arms worked. There was no speeding, anything. COVID hit. The arms are always left up or broken. That gate has yet to be locked. I have a soon-to-be 12-year-old and a 7-year-old. And at any given time, there could be 10 kids, neighborhood kids playing basketball outside my house, and cars speed in and out. So I'm kind of just wondering.
And when, so you reached out to, when you said you had some, who came?
I've been emailed
okay.
with Mr.
Okay.
Yeah, I've emailed,
And
you
the
know,
chief has been
and
involved.
there have been minor, you know, resolutions, and 2 weeks later, it just so happens the arms are broken again, and it's become a cut-through in town, and I'm not sure when that gate just became a through street for me. I mean, even due to the crime we're having in town, that gate's open right now. There's people walking in and out of that gate that don't live in town all hours of the
I'll
night.
bring it up to the chief and to our new chief as well.
Yeah, that's gotten me nowhere
Well, that's,
so
but,
far.
so is that, like, and I feel that's terrible for you, because you're particularly with kids in front of the house like that. Is that enforceable by a code? This is a general question, I have no idea what the answer is. Is that enforceable by code that a private enterprise would need to have a gate operational and like they could prevent a through street? I don't know if that's
It's a
hit
little,
him in the wallet, that's what I'm kind of getting at, like.
it's a little tricky.
It's a tricky
location.
situation, because I think when the property was first transferred over to ownership with Silverline, they were allowed to have that as an access. And, you know, it's always great to have it as an emergency access. Some of the employees used to come into town at lunchtime, and they'd walk across the footbridge and go to Maria's or wherever. But it's become a problem, and over the years, we've had tractor trailers. Sorry, I'm leaning back. Over the years, we've had tractor trailers that come driving down the street when they're not supposed to, and they've said, well, it's an access point. I know Mr. Spacuzzo and I spoke about 2 or 3 years ago on this issue. We were able to get the police out there to do some monitoring, and I think it slowed the situation down, but the management over at Silverline was not receptive to closing that permanently. And Councilwoman O'Donnell, I think, you know, I don't know what actions were taken when you were, but it sounds like probably very similar, that legally we can't force them to, but.
Yeah, again, I mean, I would love for them to close it permanently, don't get me wrong. I guess for myself, it's more like, why can't it go back to those, I know that, you know, when that gate would open during the day, they'd have a security guard to open it. And there was only so many people that had access to swipe in and out of that gate. And when the gates, when the arms are working, there's really not much of a problem, because the people that speed in and out don't have access, so they can't even come down. And it just so happens that they get fixed, a week later, like in the last 2-3 weeks, which made me come here, the arms are just both up, and I mean, there's just traffic coming in and out. And I mean, at night, it would be nice that that gate get locked again, so that people aren't, I mean, I've had my friends up the street that their car was broken into. Again, it may not stop it, but I think it would slow it down a lot. You know,
One of the things when I said things are a little bit tricky is that we're not sure that Milltown has jurisdiction there. There's a municipal border right there, so we're not sure where our jurisdiction is exactly at the gate. You know, obviously it's at your property, but it's not at the gate. But I'll bring it up to them again and see if there's any resolution on that, if they've sorted that out. But I know that.
Or hopefully reach out to North Brunswick as well.
And they've spoken to the property.
Not you, us.
Well, no, I don't mind doing that either. I mean, you know, I've reached out, and it seems that Milltown police are the ones that always come and tell me, don't touch the gate, or don't do this, or don't do that, and then in the same, you know, notion they'll say, well, we don't even know if it's our gate, or if it's North Brunswick gate. But yet, I'm told not to do things, and
Well, if you do something to someone else's gate, you are trespassing, you are vandalizing it. If you're doing something to their gate, just like if somebody's breaking it and coming through, if you personally are doing something to it, you are either trespassing on their property or vandalizing, because it's theirs. But we just don't know if we have.
Okay, I understand. I mean, look, I'm not here to argue. I'm actually asking for help.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I don't want you to get in trouble, so I don't want, you know.
But it just seems to kind of like, I don't want to say fall on deaf ears, but like there's nothing that's like happening, you know. And tonight at 11, 12 o'clock, there'll be random cars just driving through that gate, and because they don't close it, they don't put the arms down. So at the end of the day, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when the kids get out of school and they're playing basketball outside my house, and a car speeds out of that gate and God forbid hits one of those kids, it becomes Milltown's problem.
So,
not North Brunswick's problem.
do keep in mind too, though, that, you know, and I know Chief Kennelly has said this, that the streets are not for playing, really, they are for cars. They're designed that way.
These kids walk to school.
Yeah.
I've had to argue with people speeding into the gate while the kids are walking to school.
Yeah, so, you know, there's a protocol for when you're walking in the street. You know, you walk facing traffic, you stay to the side. It's not necessarily playing a game of basketball and expecting a car, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a street is definitely for vehicles.
But certainly
a driveway or a yard, that's, you know, we're playing. We have great parks that have basketball and things like that too.
But the gate being left open, I think, is
encourages.
Yeah, encourage. This is it, whether that's, you know, we don't want speeding in town regardless, and whether
It
that
should be
is- yes.
25 miles an hour.
Yes,
if
so like
it's not,
to
and,
limit
you
the
know,
speeding
we
and
wanna
limit the cut
limit the
through.
access.
The gate seems to be the focal point. So I
Yep.
think with the new police chief starting, that's something that could be brought to him as like, hey, that's something that is an ongoing issue that hopefully can be addressed as soon as possible. But yeah, no promises, you're right. I think they both have admitted that it is not a clear-cut issue, but I don't think anyone wants to see that be a cut through, and then that area becomes a high-traffic volume area all of a sudden.
It was
One of our
a problem
sergeants-
even with the gate, but without it.
Look,
I know.
I'm not asking for the world, I
Yeah,
mean,
we'll follow
but
up
you
with the
can
police.
see the
Yep.
difference when the arms are working and the gate's closed compared to when it's just,
It works as a traffic calming device.
Yep.
Just like having those reduce your speed. I mean, you know,
Yeah, I mean-
people slow down, they wait for that gate to open, and then it's a little bit safer.
Mr. Kapuza, I think, if I remember from years gone past, there's an agreement between the borough and Silverline about that gate. I don't know if maybe, Peter, you looked that up?
I'll
and see.
revisit it. It's something the chief and the incoming chief would
There
be
was an
familiar with.
agreement
But
with the
we
borough and
also,
Silverline.
we also have
like, when I
our,
bought the house, I was told that, you know, there'd be minimal traffic, it was closed and locked every night. COVID came and, you know, a lot of things changed, but it's not changing for the better, you know, and
so two things that I'll mention. One is that we have a sergeant who handles traffic, so we'll make sure we have him looped in as well. But I encourage you to use the report of concern on our website, so
It's been
that's
done numerous
all
times.
documented.
Yeah, we'll follow up.
Yeah.
emails, my wife has sent emails, you
Yep.
know, I spoke to
Yeah.
Mr.
And I
Rowlinski
know
about it.
Councilman Potter had, when he briefed me on taking over public safety, it was one of the things that he had given me a heads
Because
up
we were,
about too.
we're on,
So.
I was liaison to public safety when we first, and they actually hired somebody. Didn't they hire a gate
They
guard?
did,
Yeah.
and it seemed like things were getting better, and then it's
Okay.
just kind of like, and there's no point of contact, right? I don't want to bother you guys
No,
or the
it's
police
public
chief all the
safety.
time, but
That's who
it's
in
tough
charge.
at night, you
Yeah.
know, when cars are in and out of there, and again, I mean, the carnival comes into town, people walk through there, you know, it's like random people. I mean, I understand you can kind of walk where you want, or stay off the side of the road, right? You gotta be careful. But,
Stay
you
off
know,
the middle of the road. The side of the road
you know,
is exactly where you're supposed to
just
walk.
being able to kind of like walk into Milltown, and let's be honest, you can park a car back there, come break into some houses, and just go back to your car and leave and get on Route 1. I mean, I'm not saying it's happening, I just would love to possibly, you know, get some type of a fix. I do know that they had a lot more problems back there years
That's right,
ago.
Years ago, the big trucks.
But at the end of the day, if that gate's left open and those arms are open, trucks can come in there, the trucks can do whatever they want,
So, Mr. Spicuso, I will follow up with you later in the week.
It's
Okay.
not just trucks, it's the Route 1 Speedway, right? So
Yeah.
any of us that live on the north side, and maybe the people that live on the south side here, the
South side.
Turnpike, I can hear on a nice night when the windows are open, you know, people doing donuts in that parking lot there, they zooming down Route 1, and you want to, you know, discourage them from zipping through
I would-
your street. I get it.
I would love
We
to.
get it, okay.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to say thank you for coming down, because honestly, I haven't heard from you in a while in regards to this, so it's nice to know that, you know, something, not nice to know, I guess, but at least now we do know and are aware of it, because it's been a while since I've heard
Kinda like
anything.
my last resort.
It's like
No, no, it's-
one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah.
You fix it, it gets broken again, you just have to, you know, unfortunately, just keep being a squeaky wheel and, you know, letting people know that it's broken again.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
it's broken again.
Okay.
Thank
Well
you.
noted,
Thanks.
well noted.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Richard Macaulay, 107 First Street. I wanted to ask about water pressure.
Okay.
It's been going on for like 2 years now. I'm not sure there are any issues with the pumps or not, but I am kind of forced to buy a boost pump in order to keep up with the pressure. So I was trying to see if there is any known issues that I don't know of.
So we have our engineer, we have utilities committee, you know, we've been looking at, we've had that several times throughout town. Is First Street one of the known areas, Mr. McClellan? Or is it?
So is South Main.
Have you contacted the utility department?
Not yet.
Okay. We should speak to Don Herman, okay? And I'll take your name and address at the end of the meeting. We'll go through and see what we can do, okay?
Okay.
Is it all of your neighbors, or is it particular to your?
Well, no, and it's not even steady, it's fluctuating. There are times when you would expect that it's at, and I know it because we have a sprinkler system, and if I set it up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I would expect it to run without problems, thinking not that many people are up. And then the neighbors that are getting up at 5 o'clock going to work, they say, oh, water is running down the street. So I'm basically watering the street, and I don't know about it. So then there could be 10 o'clock in the morning, I turn it on, it's running fine, or 9 o'clock, which you would expect that more people are using it. So it's kind of, you can't pinpoint when it's happening.
Right.
And this is the second summer in a row. I mean, my water bill was over close to $1,000 last year, not knowing that this was happening. And I know this is a, first world issue, but, paying for the water and having a lawn getting brown, there is something off, so.
So if you contact, get with the water department to determine first, is it your service or is it the service, is it the whole street? And then, the other thing is that, that we've prioritized the streets throughout town that have had similar problems and have done multiple projects to repair. So if it's something that's...
Because I know it's also happening on South Main Street at our office because we have a sprinkler system there, and this year we couldn't use it at all because, and especially today when they were closing out, it was really low pressure. So it's not just our address at home, but it's, it's...
Yeah.
Where on South Main Street? Where on South Main Street, I'm sorry?
Right across from the convenience store.
Okay.
And there's also on the other side of that, because the irrigation guy said that he has a customer that has the same issue in the area. So it's not just spotted, there has to be some kind of more.
So Dave, you can make a note for the utilities committee.
I was just curious, something that popped into my mind, and then you mentioned brown water. I know there was a water service from the main to the resident's home that burst on your street a couple months back. Have you replaced your service at all since you've moved in? I'm just out of curiosity. I'm not telling you to go do it tomorrow. I'm just curious.
Like the line from the street into your house?
To the house, no.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't.
Because I'm just curious, they can become clogged over time and start to choke down, and then it really hurts your water pressure. And I'm not saying that is the problem. I'm just starting to think about in that neighborhood if people have or have not. And when one breaks, it's kind of an indicator that there might be something going on.
So hopefully Mr. Herman can see.
That's what the
If it's just your house, like that. If it's
Yep.
the area, Mr. Herman might be able to determine
Yeah.
if it's the area.
Yep.
No, that's good. But I
mean, it's just,
don't think the council was aware of that, so.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing it up because our office is only a street and a half away, and it's the same issue, so it's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
it's
yeah.
it's a more of a.
Regional, yeah.
Yep.
And if I could have another question.
Sure.
Who could I be pointed to in regards to net metering?
What?
To net metering?
For solar?
Yes.
That would be the utility department as well. We have an
Because, I mean-
ordinance in regards to the net metering.
Was there any talk about it, or is it something that is?
It's been standing for some time. It hasn't been readdressed in a while, but basically what it says is, you pay X dollars per kilowatt, and then we only give you back what our purchase price is through.
Wholesale price.
Right, which is not our wholesale price, because a portion of that money that is charged goes to maintaining the electrical system within Milltown.
Okay. So where do I go from here?
That's the
Part of
utilities.
utility department, but
Yeah.
you can,
What's your question in particular?
yeah, what is your question with it, about net metering?
Are you gonna?
Well, it's not in place right now.
Right.
We are one of the three municipalities that don't have it because we have our own, and just like to touch on another end of it is any EVs being brought in, we don't get any rebates, we don't get any extra night charges, better charges for electricity, we get none of it. We are, spending the money to improve in that direction. That would be, I think, beneficial if it is encouraged in some shape or form. Just like PSC&G gives rebates to install chargers, gives many other rebates we don't qualify for. So I would try to, see if we can move it forward. But I really would like to have some kind of contact or something that I can follow up, not just leave here and it's being put in a drawer and I'll come back in 3 years and...
Exactly. So I was going to give you my card, and you can send me an email.
Okay.
With all this information, and then I'll make sure we pass it along to the people that actually can look into it.
All right.
So, yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
absolutely. I'll give you my business card for that, so.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, he will.
Yeah, I'll give it to
he'll
you
make
right
sure-
after the meeting.
Make sure you. Anyone else? Yes.
Heidi Stout, 31 Cleveland Avenue. Trina, first of all, thank you very much for serving as our mayor.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Done a wonderful
Thank you.
job. Regarding the matter of the contract that was discussed tonight, as a longtime resident and taxpayer in this town, some of the things that were discussed tonight are very concerning to me. And I thank Councilman Revelinsky for bringing up some very important points that would appear to need further discussion. It also concerns me greatly that the gentleman who indicated he is on the Personnel Committee seems to be, to some degree, out of the loop, and that's also a concern to me. My other concern is that as the people who voted in favor of this contract, 3 of them are leaving office at the end of the year. And that, to me, is a decision that is best left with the people who are staying on council, who obviously have concerns about this because they all voted against it, and the people who are coming onto council. Thank you.
Can I just have your name again? I'm sorry.
Heidi Stout.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Not that bad.
I turned it off.
I did, I noticed, thank you. And I'm the last person to ever be cold. And my wife will say I deserve this for all of her years of suffering. And then not to beat a dead horse, because this has been a long night. And I do respect what you said, Mr. Peretti, about, Councilman Peretti, about setting a standard in your practice about the contract. What I do think the disservice that happened tonight, that was not intended, I don't think it was done that way. But I do think that instead of the next administration entering to a table with an empty slate and someone, the BA, being able to walk away with more than they came to that table with, any motion to that negotiating table now has to be looked at as some type of what am I going to lose, what am I going to win. I just don't think it was, timing is everything. I think the same conversation could be done, 2 neutral parties entering a table and coming up with what the next year will be. When that's already been done, any conversation from that moment on just kind of would be more challenged than it deserves to be. And I do think it's a valid point that with so much exodus about to happen and nothing in the fate of the borough changes if that wasn't passed tonight, I think the timing was poor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Lee Weisenberger, 99 JFK Drive. I'd just like to follow up on some previous stuff. I've been looking back on some emails from council meetings and stuff, and I'll start with lead pipe stuff, that there was the letter sent out to identify the lead pipe connections.
That's right.
Do we know the status of that?
I would defer to Mr. McClellan and CME on the, or...
Lead pipe inventory?
Lead pipe, yes. Have you heard from the water operator or Mr. Herman about the status of the
No, we have not. I can check it out, though. I'll be happy to.
Dave, do you have any?
No, I know we were collecting the data.
It was 10 years, and we're a year or two into it, I guess, so.
From what I saw, like you said, there was grant money available and stuff, but I'm more concerned about road work being done, where roads that might get paved again here might get dug up again.
Yeah, and those are service lines as well,
Yeah.
into the house, right?
But
Yeah.
that's what I said, I was just wondering what happened after that original letter? How many homes were identified, not identified, or that's
We
an
can-
ongoing process?
We'll find out for you, yeah.
Right, okay. If I could too, the water line under the turnpike, that main, what's the status on that? The broken one?
I can help with that, Mayor. The
Okay, thank you.
Borough has been attempting to get television inspection on the line to determine the condition of the carrier pipe, which is a casing pipe that's under the turnpike.
So the borough's trying to do that?
That's correct.
Okay, I was just curious, because that's been going on over a year then, right? So,
The access to the pipe is the complication, not so much the television inspection. So we have a contractor who's willing to do the television inspection. The access is the problem. So
Okay.
we're working on it. So,
okay. We're on pipes. The culvert on, by the Rangers on Coulthall, that little bridge that's been held up, status with the pipeline company, because they're the ones holding that up.
Mr. McClellan, I just wanted to weigh in because I brought up that you and I had spoken about that, and that it was like the big gas company and the DEP had given us like we're not sure exactly where this is, and don't touch anything there.
Yeah, at your request, I did call the county engineer's office, and they've indicated that the gas company shut the job down because of concerns with the close proximity of their gas main to the actual culvert.
So there's,
Project is stopped.
it's just stopped, that's it.
That's correct.
So it's not a matter of them not knowing where the main is, it's a matter of them being concerned with the integrity of the main.
That's my understanding.
Proximity to, it's too close to call.
I'm just trying to understand that it's like, you can't go toward the East Brunswick side, you can't extend the bridge or the culvert to the Milltown side?
The gas transmission main is a major viaduct for gas in this area, and they have, as surprising to the county engineer's office and our office, they have basically shut the job down.
Really? Something. And we brought it up about curbing on Main Street. I don't know if anybody's gotten in contact with county or anity, any help for homeowners or anything?
I brought it up to our DPW, that was, but no further update than that, just, went through the DPW, and that's gonna be, I believe, part of his planning part of the request to get through county funding, but also part of the 2024 funding plans, like grant and stuff, so I think that's part of his 2024 outlook.
Okay.
Was that the shale, the curbs?
Oh, I
Well,
was thinking
a
about.
little bit of
Mr.
everything, I
Ferguson's
guess,
comment About curbing curbs.
To
Sorry.
me, it ties in, like I said, the curbing, it exists, doesn't exist because of the shale and stuff. But like I said, most roads, when they get paved, are paved to the curb height, 2 inches below or something.
I will say that we were successful with a couple of locations where we had requested PSE&G to pave curb to curb in a particular area instead of just the portion which they would be required to do for this gas main restoration. Because we were also paving that street or an adjacent street under our own work or with the county paving program. So we'll definitely reach out to them and see if the county has any input or capability to help replace some of the curbs along Main Street before the paving occurs by PSE&G. So we'll have to closely coordinate that with them and maybe do a trade-off where Main doesn't get paved right away but gets paved at a later date if the county needs more time in order to replace some of those curbs.
So you were not the resident who asked me about it, but someone brought it up to me as a public safety concern. They said that there are people that, when someone is stopped to make a left turn, come up onto their property because it's so close to the street level. So I spoke to the county DPW person, and he was actually going to go to that resident's house. So I have to find out from the resident how that conversation went.
Yeah, okay. Move along, last meeting Lou was here, but like I said, we previously asked you too about DeVoe Lake, the dredging project down
Matter
there.
of fact, I have it for you tonight. Cost for the DeVoe Lake dredging was $1.85 million. That didn't include all the lake, but that's probably about 50% of it was dredged for $1.85 million.
Right, and I've been doing some research on that myself, and I'm curious now that, I don't know, CME's been was with Spotswood for a number of years?
We were, that's correct.
Okay, because I got, like I said, back in 2010 is when that thing kind of started to get going. And
about right.
I was shocked to see that Senator Lattenberg at that time got him a $500,000 grant that went to the county for the flood mitigation project stuff. And that was a piece of it. And down the road then, they got another $2.5 million from the state DEP grant.
That's correct.
Which went through political whatever up the ladder. But I'm just curious now, like you said, with our de-snagging project that kind of got hung up, I guess, but there's a window of opportunity there all the time for that?
Well, the grant that you applied for is every other year they come out with it, so.
Right, but they, once again, their representatives, they went to their representatives up in the state and got the money. And this did go through county too. And that's what I'm thinking now, that they set the precedent. I don't know why we're not gonna push to try and get more money out of that, or do something. Because like you said, that, I agree it's gonna help what we're saying with the de-snagging, but if we can get more, that's not a big lake to do the whole thing and be done with it for a while. So I just appreciate that, if, you know. And just a little bit of clarity on something. I said, when our engineer or the borough attorney is tasked to do something, that's all recorded, right? It's not a lot of projects per year in a sense, I don't think. But I mean, so I'm just saying that if I was to Oprah something from way back when, we should be able to get it.
I mean,
The minutes of council meetings going back.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if it's far, far, far back and it's not scanned at the computer, I might need some time to.
2005 and up.
Some of that's in the computer, some of that I might have to go into the books and get for you, but I mean, all the minutes that's a permanent record.
All open to the
so.
public.
Right, the minutes, but their individual task. I mean, would there be a separate list for CME or for the borough attorney for the projects that they were required to do?
Well, that's not necessarily going to be recorded in the minutes. I'm not sure.
I think, well, if it was something that was passed by resolution, we were paying for a specific service, then yes, we should be able to track that down easier than just Mike, do me a favor and find out how tall the steps are outside. That's a little bit harder to track.
Right.
But the minutes would certainly lead to whatever it is. If you could be more specific about the information that you're looking for, that would help narrow the search.
Right.
Yeah,
Even within that time frame, it wouldn't just be all requests towards the borough engineer, it would be requests pertaining to this. So
the
that
more
helps.
specific you are, the better. And you also have to remember, minutes are not a transcription, so every single word that's said is not necessarily documented. It's more of a general, this is what went on at the meeting, this is what was discussed.
Right.
So, like Rich said, if somebody asks him, oh, how tall is that, that may necessarily be written in the minutes. If it's something we spend money on or memorialized by resolution, then absolutely, that's gonna be very easy to search.
Right. And I'm just curious, Ford Avenue, like I said, I've given the previous borough clerk title search stuff, and she sent out to all the council members, attorney, the latest title search by Borough. Has anybody read it?
She sent to Winley.
I was gonna say,
A while back now.
I don't know that anybody,
Yeah, when
does
did she
anybody
send
get that?
Like I said, how many months, I'm not quite sure now, but
I don't remember, I don't recall.
Do you know when
Yeah,
you?
I'm not sure that went out to the council
Yeah, I don't
members.
know
That was
if-
a document that you asked for that was found at the Ford Avenue agency level, and you asked for it. It was provided to the clerk and given to you under an Oprah request. I have a copy of it because I was the one who was
like
given
I
to
said,
as
she
a conduit.
might have CC'd it or whatever to everybody.
It was a big document. It wasn't
Right, it
something
was
that you were
660 pages,
emailing out.
yeah.
I think the mayor and council would know if they got it because it would have jammed up.
I'd
their
be intrigued by seeing
Yeah,
the
no,
What was-
probably provided it to you as the Oprah request.
What was it in regards to the title search?
It's by Borough on the ownership of the land.
Oh, he did
and
one.
the
But
pond.
pertaining to the dam, the water, the
Everything.
trestle,
Everything.
anything and everything, okay.
Yep.
No, I don't think she sent that.
I don't think I ever
I
saw
don't have
something
that,
that-
yeah.
that large.
Would one of you share it with us?
Yeah, if you have it, do you still have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Or-
I mean, I can email it out to everybody.
Or do you have a box, like box account we can look at it from there, instead of sending
Well-
that huge
Well, I'm not
document?
that-
But what is the what do you want the council to do?
I don't have that sophisticated box
Okay.
stuff, Councilman Potter, all right?
No worries, no worries.
I got a mailbox, I'll print it out and give it to you.
Oh, yes,
Don't do that.
That, I probably interrupted your question in
Yeah, I
regards to
mean,
that,
so what are
sorry.
you looking for the councils to weigh in on that?
Well, we keep kicking around the pond,
Oh.
ownership of the pond. And like I said, that title search does a lot for that.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm still curious, like I said, on the tax maps, showing Milltown as owner of the pond. And I'm just, how we got to that, I'd like to know.
Okay, great.
So,
Thanks for
That's
following
it.
up again.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Anyone?
Or she's
No?
grabbing his phone.
Yes?
Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to make this quick, it's been a long night. Ryan Sowell, 61 First Street. I'm a local business owner here in town. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I have some real concerns about the increase in crime that has been happening in the town as a local business owner. Just hearing tonight, I've been watching council meetings over the last few months and stuff, and hearing that our police department has not gotten raises, and then also hearing that we're not hiring really new cops. You know, Milltown Pharmacy was broken into. I employ local people in this town, you know, and it's a fear of mine. The gentleman who was here before, my business is right by him. The 18-wheelers that make the U-turn in my parking lot become my problem. So it is concerns to me. You know, it's said that Milltown doesn't have any more light industrial for businesses like mine to grow into. It's forcing me to take my business possibly to go outside. Instead of building homes here, how about we take business owners like myself, talk to us and ask us what our concerns are. My concerns are is I can't grow my business here. I employ people in Milltown, okay? My employees pay taxes to this town. I pay taxes to this town. We're not hiring new police officers. We're not giving them raises, but yet we're talking about giving other people raises. And it's sad, you know, crime is real. It took 2 weeks to finally catch, what, a car thief? What if my business got robbed? It's a concern to me. So I'm looking for the future council and the council members here now to possibly, instead of building houses, let's build businesses here. Let's talk about light industrial. I'm not looking for a warehouse. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for me. I own a mechanical contracting business in town. I do HVAC, I do commercial, industrial, residential. I provide services. I'm a union company. I understand bargaining agreements. I understand how RFP works, and I understand how the whole business and government and everything works. What I'm trying to say is talk to the local businesses that nobody, except the new council, has come and approached me about, because they care about business. The old council, nobody came to my business. Nobody talked to me. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody said, hey, thanks for employing local residents. Nobody did any of that. So I think that I am a taxpayer here, been here for 38 years, and our voice is not being heard. I appreciate every one of your time. I know that this is you take away from your families. You really do. So thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close audience comments and move on to council comments. Is there anything further from anyone on the council would like to bring up at this time?
I did want to address one of the audience comments from before. There's not 3 members who voted who are leaving the council. Just wanted to clarify there's 2.
And the mayor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the voting.
Okay, got it.
Gotcha, okay. And I wanted to mention that one of the guests here is actually the mayor of Middlesex. I was the guest at their very lovely Veterans Day ceremony, so thank you for coming to visit us. Thank you for coming to visit us.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I will close council comments, and we'll go to the final mayor comment. As I said before, I congratulate Mr. Murray, Mr. Manko, Mr. Poznanski. I'm sure they're excited, and as they got to see, we've had a spirited legislative body here tonight. I will also say that, in years past, this used to be the norm rather than the exception. So as we've gone over things and we've talked about transparency, and I appreciate Ms. Stout's comments, one of the things that we've really prided ourselves is on transparency. You can provide information. If it's not chosen to be considered, there's really, unfortunately, not a lot that we can do on that. What I will say is that, misinformation is also an issue as well. So it's one thing to have misinformation during a campaign. Governing by misinformation will become problematic. So as you are aware, several people came and were very concerned because they heard the phrase tenure, right? And nobody wants to say, this is what an outgoing council is sticking the future council with. That was totally not the case, and it was a misunderstanding that had been made clear and yet was still spread around to, again, cause fear and to think of who to blame, right? So that's one thing. And the other thing is that, we've negotiated many contracts over the last several years. The employees are treated very fairly. There was one employee that didn't get any increase and, has worked hard, and we speak to lots of members of the public. We're sorry, sir, that we didn't get to you, but we've spoken to, hundreds over the last 4 years, and certainly many during the campaign. Seniors in particular who appreciate all that these employees here have done for them, as well as all of the other people that operations have been streamlined, have been improved. That really benefits all of Milltown. So for everybody else to get a slight increase and for one person not to get an increase, we're not naive. It's not going to be here forever. It's something that everybody has made clear. Nobody is, blind on what's going to happen. So, we are tasked with doing what we feel, as you all will be when you sit up here, what you feel is right and fair, whether you're on your way out, whether you're just starting, and that's what we did. We voted our conscience tonight on what we felt was right, and you can certainly take that and change it going forward, but it's something that everyone has to, you take an oath of office, and it's a little bit different when you sit up here once you've taken that oath to protect, and we're serving all of the people of Milltown, not certain employees, not certain people. We serve everyone, and we feel that, certain things that we have done will benefit everyone. So I thank you all for hanging in here for 2.5 hours. It was a really good discussion, and I look forward to seeing you all for one more meeting, and we can celebrate the holidays. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. I have a motion by everybody. Second by
Everybody else.
Councilwoman O'Donnell. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good night.